Right. Okay. We're now recording, and we go over to Andy N. I bet you never forget to record, Andy.
If you forgot me, Finn, you wouldn't hear the end of it, mate. That's all I'm going to say. Right, guys, get my gear up for you tonight, guys. You know, hope you all have got a good New Year. To be honest with you, me and the boss who sat next to me both went down with COVID on Boxing Day, so we're both full of a dog's dinner to a day or two ago. But anyway, we're all right tonight. So, okay, a couple of new pieces and a bit of, as Finn, I know Finn likes me doing mental flash fiction, so I'm going to finish off with some mental flash fiction for you, Finn, okay? But a couple of serious pieces to start off with tonight. I've got a book on the way at the moment, so it may get done this year, may get done next year, who knows in me. But called Changing Carriages at Birmingham New Street. And these are letters between a couple, basically. And these are two brand new pieces that may end up in the book, who knows. But this first one's going to be right near the beginning of the book, where in the book itself, you're going to meet a couple where they started off as childhood friends, they drifted apart, and she, as an adult, then writes to him. And this is about the second letter she sent to the narrator. This is 20 yards behind. Reeling emotions in an afterthought. Your second letter followed before I had chanced to respond. Apologising for being so thoughtless, saying you understood, if you didn't want to write back, or if simply were too busy. The truth was, Sarah, do you remember me saying, who'd been away in the village? His name I'd since forgotten. 20 yards behind both of my girls, and hired bicycles, helping them prepare for a big inter-school race. Unable to walk for 2 days after, my fingers red bleached in sores in a vain attempt to support them both in. The 10 miles each way in rainstorms, leaving both almost paralysed in laughter as I struggled to get back into my car. Coddling my emotions in puzzlement when Melissa said to me afterwards on the way back home, only for me to push it back into my pocket, feeling like a child bearing an eraser as my interest had been pulled ashore for the first time in years. Okay, moving on. Next piece of this one. As this goes a little bit further, where after the two characters then met and there was a gap between basically the marriages, because both characters were in marriages at the time. And this was when the actual Sarah was going to meet these two daughters. So this is telling the truth. Do you remember how long it was, Sarah, before I could tell both my girls about us? Was it 6 or 12 months after both of our marriages had finally failed? And you brought us together like beak and spell. Mine was harder, of course, considering we'd been together for 14 years, and I had both the girls to think about. You just walked out unexpected, you told me that night. You had it coming for years. You remember texting me, then it pricked you for more years than you can remember, concluding, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it anymore. Mine was more complex, but the girl's mum, my then wife, always knew. Completed my sentence before I finished it. You met somebody else, haven't you? Telling the truth before I could even say. Mine was more complex, it always was. Almost like a memory of keys afterwards, tied up and before, after we met, leaving me afraid to face my fears, holding my head afterwards with tears. Unaware, stepping in to try and be happy, I only doomed myself further. Right, okay, to finish off with. This is for Finn, because I know he likes being mental with flash fiction. So this one's about mannequins. So this is called Mannequin and Chips. Yeah, well, you would have thought you were drunk too. Well, I'd had a few beers with Mikey and Danny over at the Crown and Anchor, but I wasn't drunk. Well, not like the previous Saturday when the three of us got that drunk. I passed out at the bus stop, missed the last bus, and didn't wake up to 7 a.m. the next morning when a policeman tapped me on the shoulder saying, shouldn't you be sleeping us off at home? That was a heck of a night, I've got to say, which made that following Saturday night a massive anticlimax. When Danny arrived and told us he couldn't stop out all night as he was taking his kid to go and watch Oldham Athletic early the next morning. Spoil sport, Mikey also decided to call it quits early, so I decided to go and get a load of chips and I ate while waiting for the bus. And guess what? I was halfway eating them when I heard a tap on the window in the local Primark behind me. Some poor bastard's working late, I thought to myself. Turned around and smiled at him, only to see one of the bloody mannequins had come to life. Yeah, I couldn't believe it too. For a good few seconds, I thought I was dreaming until she knocked on the window, almost like she was trying to wake me up. I'm sorry, she began politely. You're a mannequin. I stumbled at my words. I don't normally eat chips, she carried on, but the cleaner's not left her spare sandwiches behind for me tonight. I'm starving. I looked at my watch. I've got 15 minutes spare, I answered, stunned. Do you want me to go and get you a bag? Please, she smiled. How about curry and chips? She smiled even more. 5 minutes later, she took them off me at the staff entrance with a huge smile. I made the newspapers on Monday when security couldn't work out who wrote in the main till in curry sauce. Thanks, Andy. Cheers, guys. That's me done. See you all soon.
Cheers, Andy. I love that. I love that. That was brilliant. Okay, Sylvia's back, but we're going to have Jamie first, and then we'll go back to Sylvia. She can hear us now. So, Jamie.
Hiya. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Aye. Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't realise I was up next, so just give me a second that I switch the keyboard on.
It's a wee bit of bassy, like, Jamie.
That's just the natural bassy timbre of my voice, Finn. Okay, I'll turn down the bass a wee bit. Two two one two 2212. Right, I'm not sure what I'm going to sing here. I think I'm gonna do a. Oh no, this is being recorded, so I better not do anything with swearing in it. Okay, right. I'm gonna do one called Drowning. She's a good girl, she's so dependable, clean and tidy, her manners impeccable. She tries so hard not to make them mad. She's so good, why is she being so bad? She's a clever girl, her grades are high, the apple of her father's eye. She studies hard to fulfill every wish. She's so clever, why is she so foolish? Save me, I'm drowning, won't somebody help? They tied on the weights, but I jumped in myself. I can't see the surface, though I've tried to swim. I can't seem to clean up this mess that I'm in. She's an ugly girl, awkward and plain. They joke about it again and again. Through all the names, she stays dutiful. She ugly. Why is she so beautiful? Save me, I'm drowning, won't somebody help? They tied all the weights, but I jumped in myself. I can't see the surface, though I've tried to swim. I can't seem to clean up this mess that I'm in. Save me, I'm drowning, won't somebody help? They tied on the weights, but I jumped in myself. I can't see the surface, though I've tried to swim. I can't seem to clean up this mess that I've made. Save me, I'm drowning, won't somebody help? They tied on the weights, but I jumped in myself. I can't see the surface, though Lord knows I've tried to swim. Can't seem to clean up this mess that I'm in. I'm tangled and twisted and trapped in this god-awful mess that I'm in. I'm tangled and twisted and trapped in this god-awful mess. I'm tangled and twisted and trapped. I'm tangled and twisted and trapped in this god-awful mess that I'm in. In this god-awful mess that I'm in. In this god-awful mess that I'm in. This mess that I've made.
Ooh,
Woo.
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you. Wonderful as always. Thank you. Right, there's a lot of folk from this part of the world here tonight for a change. It's usually just you and me, Jamie, but there's a few of us tonight. Okay, we're going to try it with Sylvia again, see if she can get it working. Thank you. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay, I say hi. Good morning to everyone.
Sharon.
It's almost 4 o'clock in the morning here in Singapore. So thank you for giving me the shortest time. So I'm gonna read about where is why. It's a poem that I written without the syllable, without the letter Y, and it's been rooted from my book Shyhawk's Path. So where is why? In the middle of the night, I saw a shadow standing near the street light. Curious me, I wanted to know what's behind the dim light. I continued to walk, and I saw a stranger's reflection from the dark. He was so quiet, sitting holding something. Methinks he can't hear me from his back. He's humming while hugging the frame, with his earphone inserted into his ears. The reason he couldn't hear a single sound I make. I continued watching him in the dark. Imagine that I'm not afraid to get caught in the act. To shiver, knees tremble, or a quivering chin I never had. Hallucinating in the dark is what I have. I didn't notice that a stranger was gone. He disappeared from where he was sitting. I looked around, but I couldn't find him. I went out from shade where I hid to find him, but he's gone. He's gone. I turned and walked back home just to get shocked when I saw him near. His aura that looked so pale, desperate soul. That's all he was. I saw his reflection. He looked at me from head to toe. I was speechless. I wanted to faint down. He asked me, can I talk to a stranger in the midst of the night? His voice was so soft and sweet. his face that covered with mustache and beard, his lips that spoke about his life. What more I could do but to sit and talk for him for a while. And he shared his own silhouette. I listened to what he had said. I advised him to move on and borrowed his urge and find the happiness that he longed to achieve. I asked him to visit me once he's free, and he said, I will just wait and see. He handed me the frame he was hanging, asking me to keep. He'll take back when he will be all right. Before he left that night, I met him. I'm Harold the King. He asked me to wait for his soul to come back. Methinks, is he an ill person? But I told him, I will, but promise me, please be back soon. And the other one is, where are you? It's still a poem without letter U. I was trying to reach the biggest star in my dream last night, tiptoeing, climbing, and always there. I failed and failed to hold in the end. I went back to a place where I live. I saw my mother crying in my dream. We walked in the desert lane. Sandstorm, strong winds screwed everything. We rested for a while at the shade nearby. When I looked at the sky, Mom said, my child, goodbye. Again, I saw the biggest star shining so bright, and I can't deny I want it so badly in my life. My dream makes me wonder all night long. All I want is to hold that star that I knew one day it's gonna be mine. All I want is that star, and it gonna be mine. Awoken from dreaming, wake up with tears, still wondering why I'm crying. So I sit at the edge of my bed and recall my impossible dream. Thank you. Actually, that poem is about my mom who was got shot accidentally in our place 2208. And thank you for listening, everyone. And I may be off now after my piece, so I will be seeing you in the right next time around.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for
Good
staying up
night,
with us.
everyone.
Good night. Bye. Thank you. Right, okay, we go unmute yourself and try again, Sylvia. Can't hear you, you haven't unmuted yourself. I can't unmute, you have to do it yourself. Sorry, okay, we'll have to move on. We've got a big list, you seem to have issues tonight. Okay, so we'll just go with our next reader, first time to Blot. So would you welcome Fatima?
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I'm writing my debut collection, and this is a piece from that. It's called Antique Romance. Grant me rest, my hemlock love. I am indeed the honey-seeking bee who vertically ascended from a century of thaw. Silently oppressed by a usurper queen, I burnt myself alive from the inside out in a trinket box of snow and stood noble without a crown on the spindle throat of a wicker-hearted empire high. I beseech thee, accept me with love, for I am toxic. Lay my overcast soul in the sapling bed of our unspoken vows. Follow the petal glances until poignancy swallows pride in the brambled mouth of our nuclear lust. Sleep with me in the most innocent sense of the word. Sweeten my everlasting endurance, for I am suffering. bind our grim union with the canaverous branches found face down on the moors of speared dreams. Decorate our marriage with the translucent frosting, sweetly frolicking on the peaks of your sugar-coated fingers. Cream our being into a lover's knot and layer it within the bodice of the weeping willow. Yield your cobble heart, for I am unlovable. Thistled eyes peek into wild meadows, spying pips of fruitful attention, betraying the etiquettes of mankind. Shame presses her ruby fingernails into blistered wings as absent smoke is blown into glassy lungs, whispering pricky toxins into sober eardrums. You are beautiful, but I am not beloved. Desire me with loyalty, for I am wretched. Exhibit tiered joy as I uncurl dovetail clouds rising beneath the pavilion of our misunderstood love with long-haired strokes, and dusty ghosts of transient pleasures haunt the dying as they ironically take in the mockery crackling from their amputated branches. Kiss me with artistry, for I am art. Bronze my birch limbs with the treacle sap swallowed from the tail of the nutmeg-eyed scorpion. Roll my fluorescent morals in your minstrel mouth. Tether my willowy resilience behind the oak beams of your peregrine tongue and coax the smoke to swell beneath the rafters of my prison fire. Perish with me, for I am the last. Rest the pine candlesticks in the archway of our shadowed covenant. Pull skywards for lofty prayers to be felt. Worship on padded heels at the hem of exotic charms. Look into the milky chestnut haze and empower placid canaries to fly. Nail the tortured testaments around the antlers of the widowed ash tree. Allow me to bathe in the scent of brooding cedar, flowering from the roots of your emerald soul. Be alive with me in the platinum, for we are cardinal. That's it.
Wow.
Wow, what a debut. Thank you. Wow. I'm so glad you made it tonight, indeed. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Wow. Thank you. Okay, next up, Alexandra.
Contrasting elements converge, and from their union, the most beautiful harmony is born. Heraclitus. And the river flows, a never-ending flow. And our bodies go against the flow. And our bodies go with the flow. So many people suffering, ailing. So many people flourishing, blooming. Synthesizing turquoise love and kindness. Like a colorful blossom on a tree, directing, balancing our physical body, our beauty, into health, strength, vibrancy, healing, weakness, disease. releasing our spirit into mystic quality. Fly, 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 and the river flows, a never-ending flow. And our minds go against the flow, and our minds go with the flow. So many people devising, propagandizing discordant ideas. So many people initiating, rippling, harmonic ideas. Synthesizing turquoise love and kindness, like perfect symmetry in an uneven diagram, directing, balancing our thoughts, our words into order, clarity, relief, subduing darkness, chaos, releasing our spirit into mystic quality. Fly, 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 fly. And the river flows, the never-ending flow. And our hearts go against the flow, and our hearts go with the flow. So many people fighting, taking dislike to each other. So many people collaborating, taking pleasure in each other's company. Synthesizing turquoise love and kindness, like a spark of fire in the darkness, directing, balancing our emotions, our passions into hope, courage, brilliance, overcoming resentment, fear, releasing our spirit into mystic quality. Fly, 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 fly. And the river flows, the never-ending flow. And our souls go against the flow, and our souls go with the flow. So many people gloomy, stressing, outside their magical world. So many people glowing, shining inside their magical world. Synthesizing turquoise love and kindness, like the fluorescent glow of a firefly, directing, balancing our intuition, our flame, into aspirations, visions, luminance, phosphorizing, visible, invisible, releasing our spirits into mystic quality. Fly, 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 fly. And the river flows. Just let it flow.
Wow.
That's the guitarist, but-
Hello, everybody.
Thank you for preparing you. That was lovely.
Thank
Lovely guitar playing, lovely work as usual. Some great comments in there, very positive comments in the chat. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Oh, right. Try to keep up with this list. I think I have it for Michael. Who's next?
Ah, okay. Wow, that's wonderful. As always, great to be here. Great to see everybody. Such wonderful stuff. I'm going to do a few kind of New Year's-y things, seeing how it is that time. And this first one is called New White Hair. Let each new white hair brushed in morning before the mirror be a thin messenger of acceptance, a pure thread stitching past a future minute journey from scalp to skull, letting go of gravity, release and surrender, follow the fall. Do not hesitate to trim frayed ends. Let that worn fringe of old struggle, splintered growth, drift with each snip, toss sweepings away without regret, knowing continuing strands will flourish stronger in their absence. Gaze straight ahead. See your frame face for what it is. Wrinkled folds, rounded slopes with frosted hedge as a Zen garden in flesh. Resting still in spirit as seasons change. Then laugh loud and turn to face the day. And this next one, another sort of meditation on going into the next year. It's called Let the Future Be Forgiveness. Let the future be forgiveness. Forgive yourself first. Pain held in over past transgressions, bad decisions, or unmet expectations. Weak battery cannot empower dynamo of interconnected souls. If people could mute, that would be great. Forgive all that can be forgiven. Hold mirror of humility to hurt. Gaze deep to see source from which wrong thinking originates. Do not be another plank on bridge that heavy-heeled hatred trods across. Remember, it is not only in myth that demons can be tamed or turned. Use tenderness as bait to lead beasts safely into cages. Ensnare, but do not be ensnared by sour energy. Cultivate and share sweet fruit. Let all absorb frangible essence, distilled nectar of sacred forgiveness blessed with kiss. Let forgiveness be what it is. Ask and expect no more. Let the future be forgiveness. And I'm going to do one more that's sort of my actual New Year's poem called Like Any Other Sunrise, New Year 2022. Rain turns white as winter flakes off into final hours. Fireworks sparks fuzz through midnight window, car-shaped snow below. The street awaits the day like any other sunrise opening a year would do, creeping over the same horizon, prairie shoulders hunched towards metropolis at dawn. Still wrapped mystery arrives. What cannot remain departs. No hand shaken nor insult taken. Footprints disappear in drifts. Subtle flicker of daylight shifts. Okay, thank y'all very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, wonderful as usual. Thank you very much. Okay, Jeff, you're next, sir. Take it away.
All right, so I've got an early Valentine piece for you. It's a little early. Some of you have heard it before, but it's called An Honest Proposal. So get in a romantic mood. An honest proposal. My dear, my love, please accept my hand in marriage. There's nothing more romantic I can think of. Just think of it. Think of the lovely life we'll share. Think of the rapturous wedding we'll hold. Think of the passionate honeymoon. Think of the limitless lovemaking. Think of the joy of stepping into our first house. Think of the tears we'll shed when our first child is born. Think of the pride we'll feel watching our child grow up. Think of the slightly fewer tears we'll shed when our second child is born. Think of the stretch marks you'll have. Just think of it. Think of the years of family dinners spent together. Think of the birthday parties and Christmas mornings. Think of the endless school hockey games and plays. Think of the countless sibling fights we'll break up. Think of the disappointing report cards. Think of the minimal amount of tears we'll shed when our third child is born. Think of the neglect our middle child will suffer. Think of the times our middle child will act out because of our neglect. Think of the moment the cop will tell us our middle child has been arrested for vandalism. Just think of it. Think of the dull daily routine into which our lives will plummet. Think of the day we'll stop going out without the children. Think of the evenings sitting in front of the TV and never speaking to each other. Think of the passive-aggressive verbal jabs we'll poke at each other. Think of the moment we'll forget what we saw in each other in the first place. Think of the screaming arguments our children will overhear when they're in bed. Think of the slamming doors and hurled plates. Think of the silent treatments and insincere apologies. Think of the therapy bills our children will pay. Just think of it. Think of the night I'll catch you receiving cunnilingus from my brother's weightlifting trainer. Think of the condescending tone you'll adopt to mock my sexual inadequacy. Think of the tiny basement apartment into which I'll move. Think of the vicious, exhausting court battle we'll prolong for months. Think of the enormous legal bills and time wasted. Think of the way we'll make our children choose which of us they love more. Think of the friends we'll lose and the gossip they'll share. Think of the size my belly'll grow as I just stop caring. Think of the botched plastic surgery that'll symbolize your desperate drive to stay young. Just think of it. Think of the thousands of lonely nights of TV dinners and masturbation. Think of the chronic online stalking of old high school crushes. Think of the oh, you're leaving. I suppose you need more time to think. I'll be waiting here with this beautiful tungsten wedding ring. A life together. Just think of it. So that was called An Honest Proposal. And as some of you know, I have a novel coming out from Dragonfly Publishing in Australia. I will, there's a Facebook page for that book. I will post in the chat, and some other stuff I've been doing or will be doing soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. All right, try to keep up with things. Sorry. Bob.
Yes, thanks. First piece I'm going to do tonight is in memory of one of my friends who died a year ago on Christmas Eve.
Bob, there's an awful lot of echo.
It's called A Drink in Eternity. We clean up, yeah. Oh.
You're frozen. Okay. And an awful lot of echo. Let's start again.
Usual mic setting, but I'll move back from it a bit.
Okay.
I'll try again. A drink in eternity. Yeah, sure. A drink in eternity. We clink glasses after maternity, slancher. It was as if it was yesterday, days long gone, but remembered as if they were today. We drank lager with a name you could not pronounce. Menabrea, I told you. My dog was called Brea, you replied. The stories flowed with the drink. The background sounds rose in waves. It didn't drown your arguments and opinions. Would the Lisbon Lions beat the Gothenburg Greats? You laughed to think I should make the comparison. You dribbled a ball round clumps of kelp on your boyhood shore and morphed into your hero, Jinky on the wing. Tales of triumph, stories of sadness, characters and events swam past. Piper, explosion, Chinook, Dewar, Ferguson, Runrig, blizzards, unsolved, drugs. My head was spinning. The neon sign said disease. I turned for just a second and you were gone. Here's to another drink in eternity. Sláinte. The second one is much lighter. It's called the Cone Gatherer. Her light brown body gathered cones, bend, lift, bag. She became part of the forest fauna, bend, lift, bag. Reminds me of the Tatty Holidays, said her friend. Bend, lift, bag. And don't you think they resemble dollop to dog shit? Bend, lift, bag. The gatherer paused in mid-lift. No, look, they're all different. Males, females, different shapes, different sizes, different colors, different families, pines, spruce, larch, fir, cedar. But deep in the heart of the Shire's forest, the cone gatherer missed the sea. She'd grown up beside the roaring waves, listened to the gentle lapping lullaby of water. She painted the cones blue and green. The firs became silver shoals of herring, fat fish she had feasted on as a youngster. She smiled. They don't look like dollops of dog shit now. Thank you. Looks like Finn's link is gone.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Okay, there's a couple more before we come to a future point. So we'll crack on with Caroline Walling. Caroline.
Hi, everybody. Evening. It's been a while since I've been here. So Happy New Year, and I'll just crack on. The first one is called Natural Orkney. It's written after I spent some time there. Every season brings new delights, tempting glimpses in habitats wild and reforming. Congregating colonies crack the waters and guard the cliffs. Their cries carry seaward, dazzling the waves. Whilst in the shallows below, pups in fur grow fat on mother's milk. Here, the old man standing stack still listens to eagles converse of times where they were almost sealed, like the tombs. Do the whales sing of these isles? An Atlantic symphony to guillemots and razorbills. Mind your foot for the primrose. It's a silent witness to the turning of times on these isles. The days grow shorter, night draws the contours of the moon like the harrier seeking prey. Listen, in this place the silence of the grass can be heard. Everything grows, moves. Watch from sky to shore, the myriad dancers cast luminescent strands, threading the stars to the land. And the second one I'm going to do, I wrote for, thank you. I wrote, it's about my son. It's called He Is Energy. He absorbs energy, recharging his cells with food, cells that start from his boots and are always hungry. A turbine, steam-driven force, tidal energy beating shores, rising in storms, consuming coasts type of energy. His transmissions are inexhaustible. Amiability that starts in the heart. It needs no jump start. This is wind-powered sustainability. A comet's tail spewing dreams, blazing trails, leaving streams, cosmic brilliance type of energy. He has negativity, burning his feelings like devils exceeding their welcome and colliding with explosive repose. An entropy, collapsing inside, shoot doves from the sky, ripped fragments of time, atom bomb type of energy. He has capacity, producing megawatts smiles combined with sun-powered eyes and laughter of fairy tale liberty. A dynamo, boundless channel of choice, gospel choir in full voice, new dawn rejoices, howl to the moon type of energy. He stores energy, mines sources and material, cascades, queries, suspiciously conspiratorial, and builds ideas for discharging. A flint, prickle through skin, black hole draws you in, full force turbine spin, insurmountable furnace type of energy. He is energy. A live wire, mile-high red fire, lightning necessity, hair on end chemistry, high voltage rock, ear-splitting shock. Life's just begun. Face to the sun type of energy. Thank you.
Ooh. Thank you, Caroline. Good to have you back again. Thank you. All right. The final reader before we hit our feature point, Terry Rose. Terry.
Hello. I just sliced my finger open while I was making a ham, so blood is everywhere. Not great timing on my part. I will push on, though. Let me find something. Let me get it out of my book. Sorry. Something out of Monty Python while I'm trying to cook. Good God. Oh. I recently looked up a person of interest on Facebook and noticed that the quarterback on the football team and the head cheerleader had reproduced and created mini thems and are crazy and together after all these years. They are about 5 years older than me, and they still both look the same as when I last saw them some 30 years ago. They must have found the fountain of youth or sold their souls to the devil to remain forever young. I have also remained beautiful for my age, and I did not have to make any deals or and attribute it to my good genes. Then there are 4 seasons, and this one's about autumn, the harvest time. What will I pick this year? Hopefully money off the tree that my parents always told me was growing in the backyard whenever I would start asking for things that I either did not need or could not afford. The other famous line was, buy it with your allowance. This mindset, however cruel sounding at the time, taught me that there was no such thing as a free lunch, and that by working, earning, and saving, I could afford to buy the things I wanted, like a bushel of apples to make my mom's killer apple pie, or the latest fashion, which makes me feel like a queen. And I have one more short one for my birthday. Happy birthday to me. At least I can still make myself a cup of tea. Getting older is not that bad as long as I remember all the fun still to be had. God didn't call me home yet, even though we are all had and are waiting for our numbers to be up and the grim reaper to be met. I hope I stick to my bucket list before that gets kicked. To Europe I must go and see more of the places generations were grown, sprouted in Napoli and Hungary. Who am I searching for? A better place, unconditional love, a friendly face, maybe a long lost relative who did their duty of being fruitful and multiplying, and the yield was the large loving family that I had always desired. Buy this book above my head. PM me for a copy. It's an erotic anthology with 30 women contributors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I hope you don't have too much blood all over you. So, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Star now for my finger.
All right. We're going to come now to our feature point. I know she's sort of fairly nervous about this, but I won't make her anymore. Quick short introduction for those of you who don't know her. Kelly Buchan is a professional tarot reader and astrologer from northeast of Scotland, as well as writing poetry, articles of the occult, on the occult and esotericism. God, I can't say that word. She's also an aspiring children's writer. And just it's not far from me too. It's really handy. So if you please give a Blot welcome to top blotter, Kelly Buchan.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to see so many of my favourite people all in one room. I'm going to start off with a few poems that I'm sure some of you will have heard, and then I've got something to debut at the end as well. I will warn you, I'm starting with my happiest one and it just goes all downhill from there. So stop yourselves in. But thank you all so much. Right now, the first poem I'm going to be doing is called A Celebration of Poets, and it's actually dedicated to all you guys. As I'm sure some of you know, the Blot's just my favourite thing in the world, and it's something I always look forward to every month. So this is dedicated to you guys. Let's celebrate tonight, dear poets. Tonight, let's celebrate you. Poets who serenade the morning and sing like birds against the sky. Poets whose tears trail wet slivers on paper illuminated white. For we, dear poets, can recognise the crunch of one soul sounding another. Words hang heavy and bear the brunt of evenings spent lonely and dire. Ringing like tuning forks, our hearts call out, yearning for recognition and empathy. Please someone hear me. Please someone know. Please someone just understand. So tonight, dear poets, it's time to stand tall and proud of these words that we write. For the song of the collective will shine ever brighter with each word that we care to mutter. Let's celebrate tonight, dear poets. Tonight, let's celebrate you. And that was my first one. Now, for me, poetry is all about spiritual transmutation. My favourite poems and writers are ones where you can feel the honesty shining out of the words. So every poem that I've written, I've aimed to give a little piece of my heart away, and I hope that that's something that is really conveyed in my writing. Now, the next one I've written is probably my saddest one, and it's just a wee trigger warning. It's regarding miscarriages, and it's called 4 out of 6. And so it was, another one gone, no reassuring heartbeat, devoid of flickering life, just a sickened silence and an empty dark screen mirroring my broken heart. And so it began, roaring rivers ran red. I said farewell to the fading sunrises which never broke dawn. They were sparks of hope that were lost to the stars and swallowed whole by blood. And so it is now, no faces to obsess over or dog-eared photographs to cherish, just an echoing thump, a fatal totality, and the breathless gasp of a half-forgotten nightmare. And so, here I am now, wading through daydreams, barely a mother, but so very grateful for the precious lives of my daughter and son, who effortlessly feed my soul honey when I'm too sad to even cry. And for my next one, this one is probably my most recent piece, and it's called The Poison Tree. And Jeff, you make me laugh, man, because this one was written about my divorce, and I really wish that I had the same humor as you. I really wish I had the same humor as you. So mine's like a dark spin on divorce, right? And it's called The Poison Tree. Won't you take me on your loathsome pilgrimage to repent at the base of the poison tree? I'll bear witness to the grim, gruesome ritual as it drinks you dry darkly and spits you out cold. Your tongue is brazen and barbed, my love, sitting proud within liquor-laced lips. Was it born from the fruit of the poison tree? It sure creeps with the same kind of rot. Intertwined, we could weep black and deeply, under branches with leaves limp with death. Into abstract rejection we'll rise and dissolve, with neither one of us saving the other. Becoming one with the roots of the poison tree, searching fingertips gnarled out of reach. Our souls twisted and tortured, frozen in time, as it drinks us down darkly and swallows us whole. So I've got one more before my debut. And as a practicing astrologist, or astrologer, I think I can use both words, so we're all right? But as a practicing astrologer, in astrology, the moon is your emotional self. It's a reflection of how you feel. And in spirituality, often how you take in your emotional world is a reflection of how you feel within. So this piece is really close to my heart because it speaks of an emotion of being ready to move on from something, but still holding a bit of pain in your heart. And it's called Don't Ask the Moon. I wrote a song the other day and gave it to the moon in hopes she'd read it over and whisper me the tune. Oh, darling girl, she said to me, your words are out of sorts. I can't gift you a melody when your heart is bound in knots. I can give you moonlight and cosmic dreams galore, but your heart's desire can't come from me. Don't ask me anymore. I took my song just yesterday and gave it to the sun. With a yawning smile, he closed his eyes and sang a slow wee hum. My darling girl, he said to me, this isn't any use. Your heart has lost its beat, you see. It's had too much abuse. Music doesn't come from searching outside in the dark. Look within to find it. You should maybe ask your heart. So I took my song this morning and I tried to find my heart. It was engulfed in flames and clotted blood like a dreadful piece of art. My darling girl, she sobbed at me, please tell me that we're done. How many times must you squeeze me dry? This isn't any fun. I cleaned her up as best I could and showered her with praise. Her beat restarted readily, but her wistful eyes were glazed. Remember when we danced till dawn and sang of hope and grace? Why did it come to another end? I hate this awful place. I lulled her into slumber and let her rest once more. I asked the moon and sun to help her heal her open sores. And I took my selfish little song and I burned it 'neath the moon. My broken heart can't catch its breath to whisper me the tune. Okay. Thank you all so much for listening, honestly. And just before I do my main piece, right, I know this isn't probably a done thing, but as my mum and dad always says to me, the best thing that Scottish people are really proud of being Scottish. So I just wanted to mention a few Scottish writers who really inspire my songwriting, my poetry, my prose. I'm not sure if you've heard of a poet called Kathleen Jamie. She's worth looking into. She's amazing. And if you've ever read any of Billy Connolly's stuff, I know he's known for being a comedian, but his storytelling is just phenomenal, and I really would implore you to look him up. There's an author called Alistair Gray. Now, his books are really dense, his novels are quite difficult to read, but his short stories are just amazing, and they're so nonsensical and so fun to read. And finally, there's a songwriter he passed away in 2018. He's called Scott Hutchison, and he was the lead singer of a band called Frightened Rabbit. And I draw so much inspiration to his lyrics and his songwriting. So if you ever get a chance to listen to some of their music, please do. Now, this last piece I'm going to do before I settle in and listen to the rest of you guys, because that's my favorite thing anyway. This is from an upcoming book that I'm writing called The Goddess and the Poetaster. And it's going to be the first page of the book, and it's called A Love Letter That She Never Sent. And I really hope you enjoy it. None of you will have heard this one before. The subtle sweetness of your voice is my current drug of choice, and it ebbs and flows against all of my better judgments. Sitting poised with a phone, I grow agitated with the sound of my own breath. It's drowning you out, and I don't want to miss a single moment we spend in our own personal timeline. There's something so remarkably soothing about the spaces between your words, the small pauses of content reflection, and the silent smiles I can sense beneath the undertows of conversation. With eyes closed, I plunge into your warmth that radiates so generously from much too many miles away. You really are a walking overdose, my darling, a lover in the night too fragile to touch, yet too alluring to run from. I'm prepping myself for a loss, almost crystallizing small bursts of feeling so that I can mourn your attention when it inevitably wanes and floats off along with my dissipating sanity. I've been driven to a point beyond the horizon, staring back at a starting block I no longer recognize while the night ahead looms dark and lonely. Living in a fantasy can only serve one purpose, and the fear of being dropped and discarded into the black is a feeling that's too overwhelming to stomach. Yet still, my love, there you are in all of your tragic glory, emanating a promise that all could be well with the world should one only believe in divine and fated love. What a horrible shame it is then that our lives can never entangle themselves in the same way in which I'm tangled up in the idea of being your one. And that's me for tonight, guys. Thank you all so much. It's honestly an honor to perform for you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. It's a big round for Kelly. That was a wonderful set. Thank you very much. And thank you. Thank you. You know what? I don't think we're going to take a break tonight. We're just going to rattle on. We've got quite a few people to get on with. But again, that was great, Kelly. That was just wonderful. You say that all the time, but it's true. Right, who have we got next? Gerald.
Hi, everyone. That was great, Kelly. I've got three here. First one, two sheep talking. Round here, there's only small hedgerows. You can't even get a loaf of bread. I don't want a loaf of bread, the other sheep replied, and returned to munching on grass. Two sheep talking. And this one, I think Kelly was talking about the moon, so I'm going to do a little moon poem. Oh, hang on. This is called Winter Moon. This winter moon, uninhibited by stars, buttonholes are blackout. This perfect moon, roundly pockmarked, prowls like a fire warden, silent in the sky. This prescient moon foretells all our futures. I see it from my window, and it sees me. Who would have thought the darkness could not burn it, this white-rimmed moon, mistress of the universe, this winter moon, which passes all too soon. Winter Moon. Now, for my last poem, I have bought a prop. This is my hotel chocolate, and I want just to demonstrate that this poem is true. This is the inside of my hotel chocolate. See the lack of chocolates in this. This poem is called Resolution. Resolution. I have made a resolution to change. I have made a resolution that when I finish the chocolates I was given at Christmas, I will not buy any more, even chocolate gingers. I have made a resolution that when I finish the wine I was given at Christmas and the expensive vodka with cinnamon in it and the bottle of Cointreau and Grand Marnier and the 10-year-old Tournier, I will stop drinking, except at weekends or weekdays, of course. I have made a resolution not to buy cheese when the cheese biscuits run out, unless I need to buy more cheese to use up the cheese biscuits, which would go stale if I didn't eat them. I am cutting out cake and biscuits, and those which I have already, I will only eat when I have finished the chocolates and the cheese and the extra Christmas pudding we bought in case we hadn't enough. No more trifle, except if I'm offered it. Cream cakes are going for good, unless they are reduced in Asda, or they have those caramel chew buns, which it would be criminal to ignore. I have made a resolution to be fitter and healthier and to avoid all sweets, apart from the wine gums, which I always get on my birthday. This resolution will start at the earliest opportunity. I will blame any delays on the government and well-meaning friends and relatives. This resolution is immediate and will begin almost definitely in the spring, probably certainly by the summer, and at the latest at the beginning of the autumn. I might make an exception if Hotel Chocolat reduce their pralines after Valentine's Day, Easter and Halloween. I will make sure it is enacted before December and the run up to Christmas 2022, when we will need to think about how we're going to celebrate after a year of frugality. This resolution is firm and positive and cannot be rescinded. I'm publicly announcing it on Facebook in a week or two. My other resolution is to read more. I'm going to start with Solzhenitsyn's complete works, which I resolved to read last year and didn't. I have made a resolution to change. Please don't try to stop me. Thank you. Happy New Year to you all.
How dare we would try and stop you? I don't think we would. Thank you. Thank you, Gerald. You pass the chocolates round. I think there's enough of everybody in the square here. So. Okay, thank you. Check's phone, see who's supposed to be next. It's Jeanette, but she's not in yet. She did say she's popping out. She's yeah, not got great Wi-Fi where she is. So would you please welcome back instead? Just a moment. Jane, spoken word.
Hi, everybody. Oh, it's been an afternoon of poetry. Thank you. It's been wonderful. I have two short pieces tonight. The first one is called EKG. Poetry writes its own rules, congregating syllabled molecules, words pressed against window panes, sequestered in desire's domain, shadowed, inked, and silenced, pulsing, throbbing, but no current, flat line on the EKG, confirmation, there is no me. Inside petrified when blood moon breaks its stillness, broken hearts bleed fire red, to howl among the wounded, to dwell among the marrow of the dead, the ghost of poems passed unchained, unconstrained interpreters remain, inking down dark black holes, etching mummified bones, haunted by dark houses on dead-end streets, buried in the cemetery of the incomplete, boxed and coffined to no longer taste the sun, desire and surrender forever undone. Pretenders will not taste my fear, muttered in silence, submerged in tears. There is no redemption beyond comprehension. Pain beats inside an empty chest, tortured by the hopelessly obsessed. Fixation clouds intuition's third eye, leaving embers in the graveyard where words never die. Peace. That's called EKG. And the next piece is inspired by Michael Sindler, some positivity for the new year. So happy New Year to you all. I hope this year is a better year than last year. I feel the ancestors in the wind, whispering their strength and wisdom to me, guiding my path to walk in grace with respect, to cherish the teachings passed on by my ancestors. I feel you in the dawn, bringing calm and courage to face all challenges with pure heart and loving intentions, showing the strength of kindness and compassion. I feel you on the rising of Grandmother Moon, casting your light of wisdom, uniting us, reminding us that we are brothers and sisters. We are all related. Peace. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Finn, for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you very much for popping along. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, checking list. I miss people out, but I'll get you sorted. Don't worry, folks. I think next up in the list is, will you please have Bob welcome to put your cup down. Catherine Paddy.
Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. Happy New Year. And my first time here, a little nervous, but it's been great to hear all of you. Really wonderful work. And I'm going to do two pieces, and they're both about relationships. And the first one is my statement to all the dysfunctional relationships I've had. And it's called Adjectival Clause. I will not be your dangling participle. I will not be your adjectival clause. I will not let you add a semicolon, because to you, I will not be anything at all. I will not be your paragraph indentation. I will not be your conveniently deleted text. I refuse to be a type of reformatted body. I will never be your relegated, delegated mess. I will not allow for subjugation or negation. I will not allow for you to treat me wrong. You may think you can override or control me, but for me, keeping my integrity is what counts. I will not accept your daggers or your curses. I will not available to any unkind thoughts. I will not allow you to own or control me, because for me, you will not be anything at all. I will not be your misdiagrammed sentence. I will not be your spell check phrase. I hereby release any all cords and attachments that ever connected me to you in the first place. I will not be a slave to your tenses, whether they be past, present, or future. I will not allow you to judge me or blindside me, nor to ever circumvent, circle, or contain. I will not be your vague first-person pronoun. I will not be drawn into second-person duos. I will not allow for your dirty third-person statement to contaminate or cloud any part of my soul. I will not be there for single-lettered whiteouts, nor will I agree to immediate autocorrect. You will need to speak to me in complete sentences which every part of the definition is intact. I will not be tossed aside like some quick interjection, neither dissected into a predicated verb or obtuse phrase, designated as a mere prepositional pronoun just so you can come off sounding cool and amazing. I will not be followed by a series of commas. I am never, no, not ever a question mark. I am always written in ink, not an erasable pencil. I am always the main clause. I am the complete thought. I will not be your dangling participle. I will not be your adjectival clause. I will not let you add a semicolon. To you, I will not be anything at all. And since I've given up on relationships, thank you so much, here's the next best thing, and it's called Victor. I just bought a Vespa. His name is Victor. He's vibrant and vivacious, what I would say is vitally rambunctious. His color a verdant splash of pistachio, that va-va-voom between sage and pale sea green, that mouth-watering lean traveling machine which drives me to and from the market and beyond. Victor just had a vasectomy, which makes him the only male I've recently allowed myself to mount. Not that I like making love with a machine or anything. It's just that Victor is so revitalizing, so how can I complain? Victor is fearless. Why, just the other day while we were stopped at a red light, he looked up at me and said, Want to gun it when the light turns green? Oh, that Victor, he's a bewitching devil, so I'd better watch out. But Victor also has some very strong morals. He is vehemently against any and all forms of four-wheel transportation. Victor operates as a bipod on an extraterrestrial vibration. He's clearly on a very different level than either you or I. Victor the Victorious is my new name for this super cool guy. Victor the Valiant, I may even add on to him. Oh, my Victor, my valor, my knight in shining armor, lay some truth on me, oh gallant one. I await you. Thank you so much for letting me do this with you folks. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on now. Sometimes I get straight through this without any mucking about, but most times I don't. The list is all mixed up. So we're supposed to reconnect, but I've missed Claire Duthie off the list. So if you're ready to go now, you can go now. I'm sure Rick won't mind waiting a spot.
Yes, okay. Right, this first piece is called Gridlocked. Can you hear me okay?
Can now, yeah.
Yeah, you can now. Yeah, thanks. So it's called Gridlocked, and it's all about the state of play and the state of play of AIDS in the early 1980s, and it's a bit of a politically incorrect poem, but it's all how basically around how things were in those days, and I've called it Gridlock because that stands for the gay-related immune deficiency, which is one of the first ways of describing AIDS. If you look back historically, it's fun to stay at the YMCA. Hey, 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 we like it that way. Go down, head down to Hampstead Heath, feel the youth, but watch what you put in your mouth, lest you end up gridlocked. The church youth kids speak, they're not meek of the arse-induced death sentence. Should you complain that language is far too plain, they will reply that life is too brutal when sex is anal, then add, in the main, you have to feel the pain. They shrug at you, then hug you. So that's the first one. Thanks for listening. And seeing as we were talking about astrology tonight, and one of the other readers was an astrologer, I thought I'd read out something called The Journey of the Magi, which I wrote recently. I'm just trying to find it. Hold on a minute, sorry. Where's it got to? Here it is. Just bear with me a minute. The journey of the Magi. They stood the star, carrying gifts they travelled afar. Their names were Melchior, Caspar, and Balthasar. Astrologers and astronomers, they numbered a total of 3. Some say that they came to worship baby Jesus and his mother Mary, whilst others believe that Jesus would have been a toddler of 2. They were warned about King Herod in a dream, it would seem, so they showed resistance before heading off into the distance by another route. And my last one is called Tea with the Lardy-Dars, and it's about an invite I had on Christmas Day to a couple's house, and they were terribly posh, and it made me feel quite ill at ease. Tea with the Lardy-Dars. They issue me an invite, no doubt not meaning to spite. They asked me to remove my socks at the door. I hope I won't be feeling sore. I'm left feeling that just like I can't eat a bite. I hope that I don't come across as full of spite. They mention that Waitrose no longer stocks Darjeeling, then comment it used to be appealing, adding that it's now just plain appalling. They play me classical music, the like of which I've never heard. It leaves me feeling absurd. I sit there feeling stiff on the sofa. my conversation can only reach so far. When it's time to go, I breathe a sigh of relief as I mentally bow. Thanks for listening, everyone. That's it.
Thank you, Claire. I promise not to be too la-di-da with you, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's cross the water to hear from Rick.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you for carrying the torch of literature. Thank you for speaking your mind and your true heart. And with that, I'm going to start the new year with something a little old and something brand new. This is called Up on Garbage Mountain, and you can find it in my book, 7370 Allen Drive. And here it goes, Up on Garbage Mountain. It's that problem of refuse that we ignore like we ignore too much of climate change. Up on Garbage Mountain. Up on Garbage Mountain, along the Biscayne Bay, although the seagulls stop for dinner, they seldom fly away. Would seem a foul idea to build it up so high. It's not too wise to leave out all that garbage, piling higher, faster, wide. Mountainous high, strenuous glazes, heat hassle hazes, layers strumming, summing suns drumming, heating, stuff surprise. Trucks take dumps on hasty humps, leak laughing, pungent snare, vapors drifting, wafting, lifting, sifting through the air, waves welling, falling, smelling up the air. Don't rush right up or drink a cup without a sealed tight mask to wear. We don our yellow gloves there, our acid tested boots, completely airtight overalls and air conditioned suits with special pressure steel-toed boots amid the gushing whoosh. The bugs are mighty strange there. We've quite a special strain. The chemicals they've hatched in resemble acid rain. They carry mighty virus, sure, a highly aggressive brood. So do not park your car nearby. They've acquired a taste for tires. Radials are good. The roaches that survive there have carborundum shells. And when they fly from place to place, falling, sparking, trails are traced. The mud that moves, we call it. Watching some crawl by, don't get any on your shoe. It'll eat right through you quick. And should you dare to poke it, it'll probably eat your stick. One thing you'll find amazing as it reaches cloud-rimmed Olympic heights. One thing good that it can do is bring into a tourist well-earned view a look at that strange and bloated large at Jersey in a garbage barge, ripe as homeless and as sad a sight as a garbage truck out of luck and gas with a year's young load of your own waste. Like the taste? We're going to solve this waste problem, I know it. Before it buries us, I hope. And then on the other hand, there's this. This is brand new. This is fresh, right off the printer. Last night, I came across a sign on Facebook that said, "Do you still support President Trump?" And let me tell you, there was a few cynical responses to that, but I thought, I'll offer my poetic treatment. So this is called, "Should the lump trunk no more be trusted? Fall, fall into the pit where thou dost truly properly fit. No more with proper law-abiding folk do sit. When thou betrayest the noble state, it hath sent thee to where, like the discarded refuse that you would decorate, are stored, shunned, and discorporate. Where that evil face befits, oh, thou diesel weasel pile of waste, failed at even achieving the venal grace of despoiled bad taste. Just one more racist crook we've here, with nothing less than a batch of common crooked vermin should be compared. No bedecked goddess forbid in tacky faux vinyl like you, and your beloved Führer determined true. Thy confidants to be no more trusted than all the myriad sworn oaths you busted. Thank you, poets. Thank you, one and all. And thank you, Brother Finn, for the fine work you've led us in.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Right, we're coming to this point, even where we have now 2 in a row first-time blotters here. So would you please give a big welcome to, we're coming back to my part of the world now, to Catriona Noble.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is exciting. I've always written, but sharing my writing is a really recent thing for me. And speaking my writing is a really recent thing for me. So I'm a little bit nervous, but yeah, really happy to be here. And it's a real treat to be doing this on a Sunday evening. So I've got a couple of poems. They're both plant related because I'm studying herbalism and I've got a big plant connection, and basically half my writing seems to be about plants. This one is called Dandelion Girl. A little story that I'll just tell you, that I wrote this poem in the summer, last summer. It just came out one day, kind of 5 minutes sitting in the garden. It was like fully formed. And then 2 days later, I was sitting in my favorite spot in nature, and a little boy came up to me and he just put 2 dandelions down at my feet, just gave me these dandelions as a gift, and didn't say anything. But his dad said, oh, he just picked them and he was going to give them to his mum, but then he saw you and he decided, here's some dandelions. So it was like beautiful little bit of magic there. Seemed like the dandelions were speaking to me. So yeah, Dandelion Girl. She once felt so small and light that she could be blown away on the slightest breath of wind and scattered into pale parts. She's so delicate, they said. But then the spring came and golden petals burst from her, and bright winged beings buzzed about, marveling at her beauty and boldness. And as her joy in this discovery lit her up, she found that she also had a thick green stem and spiked leaves and huge gnarled brown roots that stretched so deep into the earth they became one with it. She was strong too, delicate, bold, strong. She realized with delight that she could be all these things, and she was. And in this, she found her medicine. It's Dandelion Girl. And the next one is called Clematis. And I think I wrote this time last year when I was doing some winter gardening. Clematis. Today I chopped back the clematis, snipping its dry brown branches with sharp secateurs, clipping them where they had wrapped around the rusted railings of the ornate metal fence and become one with the hedge. Then I swept up the cuttings and put them on the fire, which billowed smoke across the neighbour's garden and down the road. There was a firekeeper, carefully controlling how much went on, and a raker-upper of dead stuff to be wheelbarrowed across the grass, and a four-legged watcher who was also a ball chaser, playing with tennis balls uncovered amongst the weeds. There was also a subtlety of snowfall and prayer flags dancing in the wind, and frozen fingertips, wood-smoked hair, and the kissing of cold cheeks. After, there was warm banana bread and equally warm hearts. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much for coming along. Please come back again anytime, as long as we're here, obviously. Thank you. Right. This next, yeah, it's a pleasure to introduce our next debut. Our next debut is the Beehive 2021 champion. So would you please give a welcome to Jay?
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. This first poem I had to do for university, and it was originally a translation poem, and then you kind of just had to run with it. So this is called Prepositions. Above potholed streets, a second floor flat, two stray cats in heat, your arching back, our silhouette cuts through skylines with brutalist black. There's crack in crumpled cotton sheets below, men's laughter floats like fruit flies past the parched skin of window ledges. Hooked on the scent of peeled peaches, between your thighs rose water drips. Into the back streets of your spine, my nose trails dark alleyways of skin. And your ribs are white lines of coke, my fingers shimmer, your thighs stick, wet your lips, kiss me again. Out of sight, but never out of taste. You arrive in the metallic nostalgia that floods my mouth. Every time I rip open that wound, you linger. In the scar etched on the edge, the glistening underlip of my world. Thank you. The next poem I wrote it's called When I Was Manic, and it was about a manic episode I had back in 2020 when lockdown turned a lot of people insane, I think. But yeah, so this is When I Was Manic. I emailed my doctor about psychedelics, asked him what if we try this. I attached journal articles from reputable sources, a magic mushroom cloud billowing in my brain, fog curls like a brolly. Outside Hull Royal Infirmary, rain melting down the sides of my sight, a world in a crinkled plastic paradise. I cried wolf again and again and again because I saw it prowling in a fluorescent vest, part-time law enforcer, part-time grandma eater. But bruises and bite marks fade on brown skin. I compiled a 40-slide PowerPoint of the people hurting me. My doctor believed me. Looked at me kindly, diazepam sprouting in his palm like wild mushrooms. I am telling the truth, I promise. Speckled scarlet patches bloom on the back of my legs, poisonous fungi rotting my inside. I could barely walk, but I talked and talked and talked to a platform that dwindles like my belief in miracles. Thank you. I've just got one more poem. It's just a short one. Let me get it up. Okay, so this is called When It's Okay Not to Tip. And this was about an experience I had in first lockdown. When it's okay not to tip. He serves us with a smile and charisma that I struggle swallowing. Whilst my mother is charmed, I wonder if my mask grants me the gift of anonymity. Does he recognize my eyes? The same eyes that narrowed at him in hallways upon hearing how he treated his ex. He pressured her into doing things she didn't want to do. Do you know I know these things about you? I ask him with my eyes. He's polite. He doesn't reply or recall, and the hot chocolate he brings isn't comforting at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jay. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you for coming tonight. What a great evening this is. For a change. Thank you. Right, next up, would you please welcome back Generalissimo.
Hello, everyone. First, I want to say that I just put in the chat how you can buy my book and a few upcoming shows that I have coming up. And I want to say, Kelly, you really lifted me up with your poetry. And of course, Jane's spoken word, you really touched me and grabbed my heart and soul with your poetry. I can never get enough of you, Jane, you know that. So let me go ahead and say, I'll be short this today. Where did I have it? In the end, it's all about the honey. I want to grow a tree with multicolored flowers with petals I can steep into multicolored flowered flavored tea. I want my tree to grow berries no birds, bugs, squirrels, or other critters will want to eat. Berries that refuse to drop to the ground so I can pick them and put them in my morning grape nuts or atop yogurt drizzled with Manuka honey. I want my poetry to turn into a tree with autumn leaves made of Indian madras, a tree with multicolored flowers with petals I can steep into multicolored flavored tea, and berries for my morning grape nuts, a tree with a hollow trunk for honeybees to hive away in and create a new honey to sweeten the world. Zigging and zagging my way through life. If I had to sum up the pattern of my life on a necktie, it would not be paisley, but more likely a series of zigzags or an Escheresque optical illusion. I most likely would forgo making it from silk, instead choosing something synthetic like microfiber that would resist stains from soup, spaghetti sauce, and errant sneezes, or all the figurative messes I've made from missteps like when I step in dog shit or put my foot in my mouth, hopefully not after stepping in dog shit, or when I step in deep snow and it pulls a boot off one foot, but even though my foot slips easily into the boot, I still have to pull the bootstraps to get it on. That might be the true pattern of my life. I wrote the next two in a Tumble Words workshop yesterday that was facilitated by Mr. Michael Semler. The first is called Respiration Tonka. Maybe if I just decide to let myself breathe instead of holding my breath for no reason at all, I could breathe easily. And this one is called Rah Rah Rah, or Why Are Pillows So Damn Expensive. Before I go to bed, I anoint my pillow with green olive oil and fennel seed powder in service to the sun god Ra, and hope my soul does not get flooded with unprecipitated precipitation. I wrap the anointed pillow tightly in silk as if it were a mummy. I buy ties and scarves from Goodwill stores and garage sales so I can afford the silk. After I wake, the pillow must be extinguished from existence with fire stoked by cedarwood so my soul can be cleansed by the sun. I can only afford to do this once or twice a month, maybe thrice if I win a little in the lottery. Thank you, everyone. Please buy my book.
Buy his book, buy his book. Thank you, Brian, thank you. All right, welcome back. Nick.
Hi, Happy New Year, everybody, and all that stuff. This has been a great gig. I love these spin-a-thons. At least you get a proper audience. So, 3 poems for you, none of them long. This is written last week, early January 2022 is what it's called. My health's had a hit. I'm less than at my best. I've got a hacking cough, a cold, a bad chest, all made worse when I move, so mostly I rest. Scared this could be that coronavirus pest. I've asthma. It's a curse with which I've been blessed. My breathlessness is something that I detest, so now I'm doubly struggling, left scared and stressed. If you listened to my lungs, you'd be depressed. I sign up online for a PCR test. Their website grills me like I'm some guilty guest. I fill in all the details that they request. The center is miles away. I'm not impressed. I drive there and arrive at their test site nest. I ought to be polite. Instead, I'm distressed and fearful, though I'm hoping they've not guessed. I'm done in 10 minutes, freed, fully processed. 30 hours pass. It has to be confessed that I've been panicking. Their email addressed to me by my full name replies to my quest with negative test. I don't read the rest. True story. Here's the next one. This is one that it got published on, and I wrote it 3 weeks ago. so it's ancient. And it got published in Britain's only proper left-wing magazine on the 30th of December. And I was pleased because I didn't think anyone would dare publish it. It's called Let's Let Johnson Get On With the Job. Boris Johnson simply wants to get on with the job of waffling for England as a privileged knob, covering for ministers who bully, con and rob, and then award millions to mates short of a bob. Boris Johnson simply wants to get on with the job of being a jammy dodger, well known to hobnob with every party donor and filthy rich nabob who'll maybe slip money to this self-indulgent snob. Boris Johnson simply wants to get on with the job of vandalizing truth like a Yahoo or a Yob, blithering and blathering and shooting off his gob, liar and denier, first with fib and then with fob. Boris Johnson simply wants to get on with the job of playing cheeky, chappy and tousle-haired heartthrob who chases every orifice offered to his knob while clowning as a mumbling and bumbling slob. Boris Johnson simply wants to get on with the job of cooking up the corniest corn that's on the cob, half-baked cuts of Greek and Latin on his kitchen hob, and oven-ready racism for the Tory mob. There's your second poem. And here's one written 2 days ago. This is called Strange Meeting, which is the title of some of the bloke's poem. Wilfred Owen, if you want to know, but mine's a different poem. Oh, and we're plugging bands we like. I'd just like to say that I work as a music journalist, and a much neglected album, I reckon the best of the past 2 years at least, is I Am Easy to Find by The National. It's just an astonishing and almost flawless album. Anyway, there you are. That's my bit. Strange Meeting, my last poem. I met with myself, yet we'd nothing to say. While words hung between us, we watched them decay, like I'd knocked on my door while I was away. No answer. I waited, perhaps some delay, but a wind got up and the sky grew so grey. When rain came, we both knew this wasn't our day. The week might have lingered. We're not made that way. Myself and I both formed from far firmer clay, with whims of our own, which we need to obey. So I started to leave, but said I should stay. It's a sinister game, which me and I play. What began as a joke just ends in dismay. There you are. Thank you for listening.
Oh, thank you, Nick. Thank you. We can't have a Blot come by without somebody having a dig at the Tories. It wouldn't be the same. Thank you, Nick. Cheers. Right, next up, we have, welcome back, Leslie, but before she takes to the screen, I'm going to read something that I wrote for her this afternoon. A Facebook post. This one's called Smile, and it's for these infuriating people that try to get people to smile. Your painting, this actually reads like a real poem for a change. Your paintings don't smile, says the man with the dog as you stood at your stall in the sun. Flying over the hillside, enjoying her life, you know she is just having fun. Mona Lisa was painted such a long time ago, her look is very beguiling. Did Leo not say, don't sit that way and tell me, why aren't you smiling? The taxi cab driver for many a year has been driving folk round the town, enjoying his job, enjoying his life, his face, not a smile, not a frown. Why do you feel that you have the right to tell you that I have to smile? You don't get to control my life. You don't know my mind. It's none of your business. Don't try and cause any strife. What is it to you how I look and be? Why the need to speak out? You're patronizing and quite snide. It's unnatural to beam all the time. It makes me ponder and think, what are you trying to hide? But your business is yours and mine is mine. I won't tell you how you should be. You keep your thoughts to yourself and I will me mine. That is the best you will see. Take it away, Leslie.
Bravo, Finn. Very fun. Thank you. Okay, I've got two new ones that I'm just going to read. The first, it's called River. When we left the river, it was to move inland. The wind urged a sorrow that we did not give into, and with sorrow not graced, we walked. Yet sorrow, waiting for us downstream, sighed as it would. Hearing it, we listened. Why is it then that sorrow only ever waits, not visible while the sun is high and warming us through to the soul where we join, and we know we are joined thus. It is good this way. It is as it should be and needed to not shrink in sadness, we in the fullness of the sun, when it is hot upon us, but too all the while we listen to the sighs rising up from river that knows us as we walk along with it. This is the other part of what we need before turning inward, away from the sun. Then, in heading east, we move inland. Then the second one is hot off the presses. I'm not sure what this one means, but hey, that's how it goes. I think it should be titled The Wordless State. The reaches of the night sky you left, you cannot now touch, yet only look, and you look. Spirit exiled sits calm and reaching up waits, knowing it has lifted to the that which is said, that which is left unsaid, even though you cannot touch, yet touch you did. A miracle it could be, but you know better. It is just the is of what we are that you know and don't know all the while that you are. To touch the wordless, that which is said, but only in the not saying, is not the what is. It is the other side of when there is nothing. The nothing of too much, the nothing of too little, and we, in our wordless state, when the what that is said is not the what is, and when nothing says too much, we know this place. We live with the deep juncture, our secret as beings, that we can at any moment transcend the believed, and instead be the impulse to be a spirit, dancing with stars in the night sky. That's it for me. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right, we have, thank you, Leslie, it was beautiful as usual, thank you. We've got a few more debut people still to come, so this is really incredible. Our next debut has just popped in. She's got a dodgy Wi-Fi signal where she is, so we're squeezing her in just now. So would you please welcome Janet Barrett? Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, because I'm coming from Spain. All right. Lovely for what I've heard so far. I've just jumped on about 10 minutes ago. So this one is called The Wall of Hearts. Saddened by what I see, I look upon it reflectively, that wall of hearts, with the names of loved ones now passed on, interwoven within them. It seems so wrong not to have a sacred place for them all to belong. To see those names within those hearts all scattered along a wall so long, like a huge memorial tombstone. There's thousands resting on that concrete face, sharing the same space. Is this now considered the new wailing wall. I try to walk by and only look from my peripheral vision, but it draws me in without my permission. So I have to stand in silence and think how awful the pain must be for those who etched a heart and are now so endlessly apart. Oh, it must be unbearable. To mark with a permanent red paint a loved one's name and then to see it next to so many that the pandemic has claimed, robbing them of the goodbyes they never got to say. From the sides of the hospital beds or funeral places, now RIP. They all lay, sleeping now in an earthly bed or dancing on the winds with the clouds. Those that have passed watched when the curtains closed good night, or dirt was scattered, and some of their loved ones muttered, "Did I say I love you when it really mattered?" There's nothing now that can be done but to watch and pray that those left behind can carry on with their hearts so broken and their minds fear-stricken. Will they be next? Will they be the next? The COVID-19 progression. That's why they place a heart on the wall with the memory of their loved ones' names, because they don't know if they will be the next or if anyone will remember them. The hearts are placed so they are never forgotten. None of them will ever be forgotten with that wall of hearts. Thank you. Thank you. Do you want to know anything about myself? Okay. I'm actually an actor, a playwright, a multiple published author. I have a series of books on Amazon called the Transition series, and my name is Janetti Barrett, aka Miss Lyricist B. I have more, but I know you've got a lot of people to go and you've had a long night already. So if you want me to leave it at just that one, then that's fine by me. What do you think, Vin?
I could read another one. You know, we're very patient here. We're very patient.
Okay. I'll read one that to me is very poignant, and it's still something that's going on as far as I'm concerned. And it's called The Minute Hand, and it was all about George Floyd. Tick, tick, and tock. It seems so slow watching the minute hand go on my huge wall clock. Tick, tick, and tock. 8 minutes I watched it, that same 8 minutes, me and the world watched in shock the deliberate and brutal killing of a black man by a white man. Not any random guy, no. This was a policeman, so why? With his 3 colleagues aiding him, then simply standing by, watching the minute hand. I try again and again to hold my breath. I cannot, as I watch George Floyd's death. A huge, cumbersome black man's life being squeezed out of him by a knee kneeling on his neck. What the heck? We all watched and heard him call for his mama. So at that very instant, every mother thinking of their children or child adopted George Floyd and felt that void as he passed away and died. Is that actually happening? Are those other 3 just standing by? Really? Helplessly, the world watched that video on every news channel show. We coiled at the blatant brutality. This was true reality TV. Emotions were stirring, bringing up memories of other black men, girls, and boys killed by tasers, guns, or a severe bashing. It just keeps reoccurring. It just keeps happening, and it's shocking. Not this time. Enough is enough. Justice is a must. We will have it. We do get it. First, it was just the cop that dropped George and squeezed out his breath. Then we wailed and rallied and held to account the powers that be about the other 3 and forced their hand to bring justice upon those 3, because we were all bereft. Black and white united for what was right. Young and older, We all got bolder and stood up to be counted no more. With clenched fist held high in the air and bended knee on the floor, we plea, Black Lives Matter. I think, yes, Black people alive, but people like me, we want to live freely. Some twist the statement to lessen its power. All lives matter. Yes, of course, all lives matter. But all lives can only matter when the world sees the melanin of my skin to be a good thing. Yes, I am a Black woman, so I won't stay silent, and I must say something. I'm saying I'm tired, I'm angry, I'm fuming at the same damning injustice system. From the 1960s uprising, we're still pushing the wheelbarrow full of wet cement up the hills to success, because it's always harder for us to break that glass ceiling. Why won't the white man repent? Those white men of old that took us, then sold off all of us, watering us down, stealing our crowns and filling our heads with dread. I'm glad that this new generation has some reflection on all that, never believing all what was said. We go much further than the Nubian or the Egyptian. Our stoneworks are written and carved in the foundations. There, from the beginning of humankind's creation, researching Black history for ourselves and not being led, we're finding out the lies of what we were fed, that colonialism was an abomination and should never have happened in such a pillaged way. So today we stand hand in hand, and today we say enough is enough. We stood united even when the going got tough together. We pulled down statues that towered over us for decades. Then we made our own barricades, but not one that blocked equal rights. Oh no, we made chains that were inclusive. Police, marshals, and others in authority joined the majority and marched in solidarity with us. Everyone is so passionate about the cause that the high risk of contracting COVID-19 became second place to the justice of our Black race. Oh, applause, applause. I've never witnessed in my lifetime this kind of camaraderie from country to country. White races actually standing up for me, talking about my skin. If only my mother and father could see, and my ancestry. Does it really mean we are becoming free? Not quite, not actually, not entirely. We still must fight for our liberty. 8 minutes watching the minute hand. Try it. It will seem a very long time to hold your breath. Imagine that fear, imagine that pain, imagine that crying out for your mother. That was George Floyd's death. 8 minutes watching the minute hand. Memories of my own life I saw. There's no way George Floyd, as he went about his day, would have thought his life would be no more. Tick, tick and tock, another man's Black life has stopped. Year after year, they continue to pop us off. The minute hand on the clock will never be the same. That tick, tick of 8 minutes. Talk. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you, thank you. Wow. Oh, I'm glad. Glad you got to do that one. Thank you very much indeed. That was powerful, powerful stuff. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone. I'm off out.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for inviting me, Tim.
Okay. From a debut blotter, we've still got a couple more to come, believe it or not, but we've got 3 regular, semi-regulars next. And next up is a man who's feature poet next month. So be prepared for whatever you're prepared for. Will you please welcome Gary? And we're prepared for Oh, okay. Oh, there he goes.
I'm here. I just have to make myself decent. It's really hot here. I wanted to be happy. Then I was like, oh, now I'm really boring. All right, let me just get myself set up. Happy New Year to everyone and everybody. I've got two for you today. All right, just a minute, let's get myself set up. Now, last month, which was last year, I was hoping to come to Scotland and surprise our Finn, but British Rail thought different. But I will one day come surprise him. But I've written this, and it was for when I. This is. Well, I haven't got a title for this, but it is. For the time being, I'll call it Flower Scotland.
When I was a little lad, I always wanted to build stuff. I got my dream.
All right. Here we go. Finn Hall. You got to imagine I'm in a taxi. I'm in a taxi. And beyond. He is to us all Flower Scotland.
Oh, Flower Scotland.
Oh, sorry, I guess it is. I've even got my top and onesie on.
Oh, Flower Scotland. When will we see
the like of Finn?
Again?
He fought and died for.
That fought and died
for.
Yet
We beat Glen. Now, taxi. Can you take me to where Finn Hall is and beyond? Taxi, can you please take me to latitude 57.149651, longitude 0.209907, and there's where my moral compass lies. If you can't find it, follow the blot from the sky. More people zoom into Scotland once a month, carbon neutral free to see Finlay, than went to COP26 to hug a tree. There's no blah, blah, blah. Our Finn is just another great verse from the flower of Scotland. Oh, Flynn, when will we see the likes of you again that fought and died? Oh, Finn, my friend, Finn unites creative people from places I don't even know where on their atlas. Who thought Robbie Burns is an IS terrorist? There was a blot all the way through the pandemic, which gave us more joy and more hope than Hancock did with his affair in the closet. Taxi driver, you're not going to believe that it's just not a great bloke, he's just become a great grandfather, which means the Finn Hall dynasty will thankfully last forever. Now the masks are coming off and the sanitizer real feels are gone. I've never felt in isolation as long as I had Finn's Zoom codes. As for social distance, going to Blot is like my local inn. There's a warm welcome with my friends old and new, which come at me like a cuddle out of the blue. Taxi, if you can't see the way, well, look to see where all the poets are joined up around the world in one verse, one stanza. World leaders, cop that. That's climate change, done simply by Finn Hall. Driver, did I tell you? He's just a poet, but he's a decent bloke. He's a valued friend to me. and lots of other folk. I don't know his politics, but I know he speaks of what is right is not wrong. Politics, especially in Scotland, is so confusing. Starmer makes me see red. Boris makes me want to vote Monster Raving Looney Pie. But if it's up to me, I would make Finn the First Minister of the SNP, the Scottish National Poetry Party. The Hall of Fame to start with Finn Hall, a man for horses. Taxi, we're almost there. I'm sure if you want, he'll let you in. It's just the way he does it here. People come and go. You can have a spot. He's flexible who he lets in. Great. Thank you, Finn. Now this is I sort of dragged up today. I got a book deal and suddenly realised I have to get all my collections together, and I found this. The impact of racism is silence. Yes, silence. Not bigotry, not ignorance, but silence. Silence in a chaotic black mind. Silence fills up the vacuum in the submissive mind. In the words of NLK, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, we signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous degree come as a great beacon of light and been seared in flames of withering desert. But this, despite this joyous daybreak to end this long night of captivity, it's still silence, crippled by the manacles of segregation, quiet are the chains of discrimination. They just clang in silence. The underclass of universal credit open their beer checks in silence. The children's bellies rumble in silence. No cheese, no wine to accompany the downing street. Lies. It's just silence. The black man lives on a lonely island in poverty, in silence, in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. The roaring waves are still in the dead, silent sea. USA, why have you been so silent? Why have you been so quiet? You had a black president and replaced him with an orange tyrant. Can someone please make a hot cocoa for Joe Biden? And on January the 6th, there wasn't a black face, what took Jack and Don up to Capitol Hill for a plate of democracy slaughter. It's just a pile of noise and reduction bricks languish in the cameras of a silent global society. There were no batteries for the loud hailers, just silence. Each corner is as quiet as I can be. I predict a riot in a library. You can hear a pin drop, silent night, every night. The presence of Afro-Caribbeans in the motherland of closed zones has resulted in institutional racism. You can hear the doves scurry in the silence of the crematorium. Not out of respect for the fallen, but no one can find the audio button. The impact of sexism, domestic abuse and bigotry is not ignorance. It's the endorsement of silence that breeds hate. This lust for hate is done in dead silence. And the injustice of the abused girl sleeping in the shop doorway is not a hard look story. It's a tale of people who sympathize, but sympathize with our eyes firmly closed, scored to address the issues, scoured right between their eyes. They just walk on by without a tear in their eyes. Can you hear the cries of fear in silence? The breath on the shop window is not condensation even. As silence does not breathe. Because it does not breathe. It breathes like fungus. It breathes like a virus with a quiet variant. It has no heartbeat. It breathes. It's hate. It's hate. Silence articulates hate. Silence has no mercy. It destroys things. It kills hope. It kills hope. It stops the light shining. No beacon of safety. Just follow the silence where there was some light. Your silence there is your inability to say what is not right. Your silence switches off as people who should be switched off. Your silence allows the people with the biggest voices tell their propaganda and hurt. It kills. So be an advocate what is right. Put your head above the pulpit. Your silence is complicit. Shout loud to carry on. Just fine. Say it louder, be kinder. This is not something I ain't said before. Say it louder, be kinder. What is loud is a noise in my head that I suffer to anxiety and the fear that dictates this slaving. As I struggle to breathe on the outside window, smeared with a condensation of a respectable society. No respect that was smears on those impoverished family and broken. My inside tears have saturated the outside with all the atrocities in front of all our silent eyes, in front of all our eyes. Too many of you sympathize with your hands, with your tongue, sacrifice to those who we despise. Emancipate yourselves from men's slavery. Your righteous tongues can free your dark minds. Your silence has no fear, but it instills fear into every part of that community we despise. The impact of being new is that the black man, the brown man, the white man suffer in silence. Not because they don't talk. Their shackled bosses, their carcasses still float on the oceans they were token, while coastal statue has been dragged up and drained in a museum. Silence in custody when they die without checking their condition. Silent at the back of the queue when they walked 1,000 miles from unimaginable conditions, then fail to be diagnosed with PTSD. And all pretty ugly Patel can say, oh, that's a tragedy. Silence then the daily trauma of being the wrong side of the white side. Silence as you seek asylum to find that in the land of the free, there's no welcome. Just die, 27 times in the Lamont. The white cliffs of Dover were painted in the asylum blood red ink in silence. Silence. Don't be complicit. Go on. Oh.
Oh. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that powerful, powerful piece there, my friend. And a little tribute at the beginning. That was wonderful. Thank you, mate. Cheers. Okay, next up we have Mark.
Well, hi. After such a passionate performance, I'm going to do, I guess everybody has their own brand, and I'm going to do some lyrical pieces. These are based on the environment, some social issues that I've written recently. I shared the screen. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'll share the screen in a moment. See if you've gotten it all. Thank you. I needed a second anyway to certainly get over that performance. Indeed. I'll give myself a second to regroup. Thank you. So the first one is called The Coyotes in Chicago. In winter, there are 40,000 coyotes living in the Chicago area, which I found amazing. Here's one you can see. That's according to National Public Radio. This is a poem after a Spanish poet called Jose Chicano. As ghosts waiting for the fog, they crawl out of hideouts in the alleys, part fox, part wolf, part dog, to hunt in subterranean valleys. Their lean bodies advance in pirouettes to tall shadows by the street lamps. Their eyes are diamond lit, quickly disappearing in the damp, pillared throats of icy avenues. The coyotes howl with the trucks in the hours of the gypsy moon, reminding our sleep of the wilderness we come from. A sudden, savage chill that fills us with dread. I see that Rick did a poem about garbage. I strangely had a poem about garbage prepared as well. Garbage, junk mail, frying pans, styrofoam, dirty diapers, mattresses, light bulbs, condoms, TVs, refrigerators, aluminums. There is no end to it. Humanity and its loads. I alone could fill a football field with all I've thrown, like a billion others who live in cement and steel towers. Everything in this room, in this metropolis, the whole planet shares the same fate. We too will be ashes packaged in an urn that's cast away to a dump on an ocean floor. Eventually this has to end, friend. We know this. We all acknowledge this can't be sustained. Alas, the age of recycling is stalled. It's old news that's become a bore, a slogan for a t-shirt, a matter of cliche. But until the trash piles up to our ears, it's here today, gone in a few thousand years. This is a poem that was put on the Poetry X Hunger website and will be published with the United Nations Journal of World Hunger in the spring when they have their meeting. It's called Land of Gourmet Popcorn. The Great Sahara is spreading south like a dry cancer to Senegal. The wells have deep coughs. The river basins drained of crops as herders sell their skinny goats. The TV fills with lean faces of the elders and the swollen bellies of children. Soon there will be nothing to sell or salvage but the howling of hunger. We watch the evening news with fistfuls of flavored popcorn. Glazed fluorescent colors of the day, tutti frutti, cherry, papaya, raspberry, lime, passion fruit, fresh from the gourmet popcorn display. What can we do? What can be done? We give to the church and to charities. Are we to fertilize the parched sands? Can we hold the desert back? Forgive us for the limits of our giving. Forgive us for not crying as you wail. Forgive us for living well. Forgive our shallow hopes and prayers. After annoying jingles for shampoo, we go on to weather and sports, our mouths occupied with popcorn to keep those extra pounds off. And I'll finish with this poem considering genetic salvation with all the gene mixing and DNA work being done. It's a consideration. Bring back the woolly mammoth. They will make excellent stews. Let's mix up genes to make dinosaur mammals with pastel feathered wings and give the penguins perfect pitch so they can sing Bach huddled under Arctic palm trees. Change every little thing. Change the DNA of all birds to dance like birds of paradise. Make new the mosquitoes that only feed on weeds. Give the flowers loud voices in their rapture with the bees. And make a new humanity. Yes, yes, for God's sakes, change all the genes. Make all people poets with pearlescent smiles, hermaphrodites and fairy queens. Make everybody giddy. I say, yeah, a total makeover. Create the new temples for the psychedelic emoji as our handsome beings soar peacefully in the sky. Lordy, Lord, hear my rampage with this growing poverty of love. I would rip the blooded eyeballs of history from its very skull if there is another way. But ahead is more tribal revenge and the gross stupidity of men. Eden was a flop. Get off the stage. We must make a different breed. Well, you know, Plan B. Thank you. You're muted, Finn.
I'm saying, yeah, let's make us all poets. That's a great line, that, man. Yeah. I think Blot would get even bigger. It would be like all night forever, for goodness sake. Okay, thanks, Mark. Thank you. Wonderful stuff. Powerful messages. It's just right. Okay, please welcome Lantern Carrier.
Thank you. A new year begins and the dawn is dancing. Love's flourish is transforming my thorns and rugged foliage into a meadow of fragrant flowers. I have crossed the fearsome river of guilt and regrets. Now my ship sails unencumbered. My son's birthday has gone, my daughter's loomed, and my own is almost upon me. Yes, it's been a beautiful life. My rugged scars have been rescinded. Love has become the panacea for my loneliness, now floating away on silvery clouds. The voice of heaven calls, come, sweet angels, show me your wounds. Let my light glimmer on the red bed of your sorrows. Ascend in your longing, let go of these fleeting shadows. I will give you my crowns, my pearls and diamonds. Sing, sing with canaries, redbreasts and nightingales. Laugh with the light of the rising sun, for the glories of love now shines anew. Sing. Poem 2. Not like Kailash, sacred, majestic, breathtaking, powerful. Not the bewildering heavens, blanketing the stars with grandeur above the sacred earth. Not the splendor of Taj Mahal, nor the breath that touched the tender lips of Empress Mumtaz, the magical beauty for whom it was constructed. I, my scented queen, a pinnacle of wafts you are, making the rose blush in sweet sacrifice. I sought high and low, sought here and everywhere. I had trailed a zillion crevices, seeking to blend with thy allure. Deep down in the meadow of the valley of love, I saw your astonishing mantle of supernal beauty, blazing with an unspoken fire inside my nameless heart. Poem 3. Snow begins to fall sometimes, like flakes, drifting in the atmosphere. The wind blows wherever love takes it, carrying these divine messengers of heaven to the pollen, the flowers, the foliage, my stained glass windows. The light flakes kiss my face and hugs me intimately. The healing effects, sometimes exactly what I need. In this noisy world of modern consumerism, I am a spark of spirit, sojourning like flakes, like zephyrs. Indeed, since I aspire for the highest, then perhaps I'm their master. Still, you would not necessarily know that. Sometimes I'm fragile, vulnerable, susceptible to danger, to being squashed upon like gray mist heralding snow. Truth is often just as delicate, requiring wisdom light to illuminate its path. O lantern, be as wise as Solomon and as gentle as the snow. My final poem. Sometimes the breath ceases, for sweet Shyam has consumed me so much that I feel only the stillness of being. I ascend on golden wings, sit on her lap, where nothing else matters. Stroke my hair, go on. Tell the snow white dahlias that we've blended together like rainbows. Our colors mix with much intensity. They've become flames of light. My heart whips with the agony of silent joy. Love filling my vessel like water does a reservoir. Only I rise, a kite perhaps, waltzing at your command, dancing with celestial deities. Sometimes you pervade the stillness of my dreams. You touch my head. I experience a state of deathless bliss, so real to me that my soul swoons with the verging dawn. My heart sings with the symphony of starlings, offering myself to the glories of your dance divine. London Carrier, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Another wonderful, wonderful bunch of words from you, sir. Thank you very much. Right, before I introduce our next debut, we've still got 3 more debuts to go. I've got a message for Kelly's youngest. Buzz, get to bed. He's having problems with Buzz. Anyway, would you please welcome Stacy Dyson?
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Cool. I'm going to do 2 pieces from my from a collection I released this past summer, Lovely and Suffering. I was tired of being threatened, of my children being threatened, of being in constant physical danger. All I did was fire a bullet into the ceiling. I never meant to hit him. I knew I wasn't going to. I hit what I aim at, okay? For trying to protect my family, I caught 20 years. Did hard time in lockdown for being tired. I am tired. I sent my child to a better school for a better life. The judge handed me down 5 years. When another mother, a celebrity mother, a white mother, lied and paid somebody off so her child could be at the good school, she got a 2-week sentence at a country club jail, walked out after 11 days, said she was sorry. I don't have enough money for my sorry to make a difference. I'm still in prison. And I'm tired. The level of fatigue we're dealing with right now, this is something that Black and brown women have known all of our lives. We are past exhausted with having to hold up half or more of the sky, hold family together, hold ourselves together. It becomes too much. And yet when we say we need our downtime, alone time, self-care time, time to mourn or create something, anything that is not for general consumption, we are told, be strong, sister. You got a little bit more in you, sister. Come on, sister. You can keep on going. No. No. Why should I? Why should I be required to? We can't. We just can't with y'all, men, children, the world. We just can't with y'all some days. Estoy muy cansada. The lights are always on. We sleep in crowded, ugly spaces. The woman next to me has wounds from trying to keep her daughter from being ripped out of her arms. She cries dark and ragged-edged stars onto the gray floor. Yesterday, they took me to another ugly, sterile space to make sure that I would never have children. I have wounds and bad dreams about vanished babies. The woman and I cry together now. I am so tired. Past tired, really. I never sleep anymore because my daughter slept just long enough to be executed by a hail of bullets that had nothing to do with her. I don't think that I will ever sleep again. In the street, they shout, "Say her name, say her name." I just whisper it into my heart, where I know she can still hear me. If you listen late at night, early morning, whenever the world turns again, you hear them in every kind of cage there is. Mothers who cannot reach their babies crying and make rescue the way mothers do. Mothers whose babies are growing, knowing mama tried to protect them but could not protect herself. Mothers whose children defied the natural order of things and died first. Mothers in tears, in pain, who cannot sleep. Mothers in every kind of cage there is. And the second piece, I'm reading my 5th story this week anyway, about some Anglo chick who lost her shit, showed her draws, as my Southern cousins say, and went live on a sister in public, then got all puddled up when she got called out on aforementioned shit. She apologized. We laughed. And she got mad again. I mean, for real, y'all, sisters got things to do. Your saltwater machinations, manipulations have ceased to be an object of pity or interest, and the fact that we no longer give half a damn really has you up in arms. But I do want to pause and give a shout out to the incredible amount of energy it must take to be your dainty and breakable selves these days. In between the fragility, weaponizing tears, and the tone policing, you wonder when white women have time for anything else. It must be exhausting. All that running from imagined slights and or the truth, all that actually having to behave like an ally. I said behave like one, not be one. So that you can make your daily, weekly, hourly proclamations about the level of your wokeness must have you bending deep and gasping for air. Tell me, what kind of tennies y'all use? Because my true allies, all my sister girls, been digging in bare heels, bare hands, bare breasts and hearts to delay, clean up, escape the mess you leave in your wake. Those tears just leave us slick and nasty for the rest of us to break our hearts on. But I understand. When one is fatigued, one cuts corners. After all, the goal is the finish line, where you can be cautiously, carefully handled, wrapped in old lace and cotton wool for the rest of your life, promising the same for your daughters, I know. Y'all are tired, poor things. Having to slog through being told, be honest or be quiet. Having to make your way through having to make account of your actions. Well, no orange slices and water from us. No comforting bosoms upon which to lay your misunderstood and addled heads. No iron tablets or pep talks. Your tears and tantrums, your so I can seem correct non-apologia stops being important or taken seriously as soon as this country ripped apart our wounds and made us wash in the corrupted, filthy blood. Made us stir our tears into tea that you thieved and drank, declaring the thirst to be equal, declaring that we would all drink the same because sisters share. You're right, we do, you don't. Selfishness is exhausting too. But we know y'all are tired. What with calling the cops, making complaints, asking for the manager, telling us to be quiet, telling us not to cry, getting in your ally points, just 10,000 more and you get a blender. So we'll just be getting on. Gonna pack some lunch, pack our shit, and get. We will not be returning to hold hands and wipe noses ever. Because for the last time, Karen, your mammy done left the building. Y'all take care and get some rest. Here.
Ooh, thank you very much. Wow, wow. Oh, that's some powerful point to this section we're on just now. Great stuff. Great, great stuff. Thank you for coming by, Stacey. Please come again. All right. Next up, if you're ready to go, Catherine.
This Catherine?
Yeah, one. Yeah.
Well, so nice to be back. So I've been saying that I'm working on poems that take place in Scotland, but we have a new blotter tonight, and I was chatting with her this morning, and she's zooming in with us from Greece, out near Sunion. And so I thought I'd bring out my one that is set in Greece. So, growing up a Greek child or a Greek American child, one sooner or later is reading Sappho. So I was on vacation last year and I had my Sappho and I was reading and I thought, maybe I'll do what many poets like to do, which is to take one of her pieces and make a whole poem out of it. Sappho wrote 3 Episolamium, which are songs to the bride before she goes up to the temple to be married. So this is called Episolamium, Song to the Bride. In ancient Greece, the women of the village sang traditional songs to the bride before a wedding. Neither the bride nor the bridegroom has seen or met the other. In many places, Aphrodite is the deity before whom the ceremony is enacted. An Episolamium written by Sappho places a wedding in Lesbos before the temple of Aphrodite, who is known also as the Queen of Paphos. But she leaves the story unfinished. This is called Episolamium. Bride full of roses, bright delight, a gift. You shine like the jewels of the Queen of Paphos. Beauty and the scent of honey lift you, mirrored in the eye of Sappho. You shine like the jewels of the Queen of Paphos, drawing the joyful graces to your court. And as you pass the village bathos, the bridegroom comes from Lesbos port. Drawing the happy graces to your court, each one radiance, joy, and spring, washes you with rose petals of every sort. They cover you with scented oils and sing. The beauties, radiance, joy, and spring, worship Aphrodite at her high temple, preparing festivities for the night, the wine, the veil, the bridal table. They worship Aphrodite at her high temple, where she guards the treasures of desire, the jewels of love, the sting of Eros, with dancing and music of the lyre. Where she guards the treasures of desire, the bridegroom climbs the path up from the sea and offers doves and pomegranate for passion, love, and life, and things to be. The bridegroom climbs the path up from the sea, and comes the bride in fine cloth covered. He lifts the veil and sees no one as beautiful as she. He has arrived. She wants no other. Bride full of roses, soft delight, a gift. You shine like the jewels of the Queen of Paphos. Beauty and the scent of honey lift, you, remembered in the Song of Sappho. That. I want to do another one with a salute to Kelly Buchan and Gary H., who reminded us that we have good Scottish poets. Let me just open this up so I can read it. This is short. I just call this Keeper of the Faith. I am not one of these people who stays up late writing poems or practicing dance steps in her head. Instead, I am reading two Scotch poets alternately. One, a gliding heron, I am a feather in his wing, rising on wise updrafts. The other, defiant, a thunderbolt, drunk among the thistle. One makes me sing deep, silent, a woman prepared to expire in the glens. The other stands ready, reminding me to fight before I do. That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, two wonderful pieces. Thank you. Okay, moving on. This just goes to show that we have more than one spoken word artist in Blot that comes from Toronto. Will you please welcome Rolly James.
Thank you, Fran. Thank you. I have a couple of pieces I'd love to share, and I read these pieces as a free man from within, a free man in mind and spirit. I am not oppressed, marginalized, nor am I a minority. So I write from my experience, from someone that was born in Trinidad and Tobago, grew up in Brooklyn, New York, lived in Toronto and many other parts. I write from what I observe of life. This first piece I call Necessary for You. From the fringes of my consciousness, I pen this piece in hopes of inspiring an awakening from the distraction of life's bullshit. Deception casts a wide net over wisdom as we live in this fear-induced construct of ignorance. I am caught up in a landslide of thoughts as I fight the downward spiral of energies in our midst today. Debris of our human frailty fills the airways and suffocates the good that still exists in our hearts as we rumble and toil towards making sense of whom we are. We live in a world where freedom is written and spoken, yet the stigma of colonialism still holds a grip over the people, where we favor one race over another. While many remain imprisoned in glory days and others embrace a mindset that blankets the past with the morality of present day. I am not a nigger or my nigger. As James Baldwin said in his talk, Take This Hammer, it was an invented word. It was necessary for you, not me. It reflects the fears that dwelled within to cover a false sense of superiority through conquest and greed. I am human, Black my walk. Not a condemnation of race, but a celebration of pigmentation. I simply speak my truth, and my truth fears no investigation. I pen these words as a free man of thought. I'm the many times grandson of those who birthed the light from the dark. My blood is the blood of kings and queens, the architects of great civilizations. My ancestors experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly. I am the proud descendant of those who wore the yoke of oppression that goes past the Atlantic, Africa, or Arabia, to when we felt the lash of sultans and pharaohs. Scattered to the four corners, our history hijacked, discredited, whited out just to keep us disconnected and uninspired. Families, culture, and our own sense of self rewired. Our men raped of their essence to be made boys, our women's virtue valued as concubine for amusement. While truth remained foreign to our minds, our tongues, our hearts, our spirits were under constant barrage of hell's fire. Humanity denied, bodies beaten, crushed beyond the recognition as pleasure derived from having the race beaten beyond the molecular makeup that binds all life. Your daily bread barely enough to sustain life, never enough rest to honor the temple while praying on bloodstained knees, waiting for the judgment day of the master's sins. I call upon the spirits of my ancestors to guide my step. I honor the sacrifice made by those by standing on the shoulders of giants. I stand for the injustice and hopes of fueling a revelation where no pound of flesh is required as penance. I've looked within to love past the anger and hatred to the wisdom welted upon your backs. Hidden in the scarred and cracked lines in your faces from years in the sun-baked fields, the thickened rubber-like skin of your hands from centuries of making bricks and picking cotton that built well for others, but never of your own. In the chambers of my soul, I hear your voices echoing the call for liberty that ties us in the single garment of destiny. Your songs of freedom stayed constant as you carried this burden because it was yours to carry. And as your ashes long return to the earth to enrich growth, the wind kicks up the dust of your bones as a reminder of that cannot be broken as we await the awakening of our warrior souls. I issue a call to the four corners, to all my brothers and sisters. Free your heart of fear to unshackle from the mental slavery of oppression. Know the truth about us. The truth is that we are a mighty people. Know whose back took the lash before you raised your hand against your own. Know whose truth was denied before you speak with contempt and disrespect of our mothers and sisters. Know the lives not lived before you want to end that of your brother. The time has come for us to take our rightful place in the race. Our lives have to matter to us. Our history, our true history must matter to us. It is no longer us versus us or even us versus them. Let us no longer be lying deaf and dumb as we embrace a mindset that casts out the insanity of indifference. We once dreamt of freedom. It's time to awaken from the experience of mental entrapment and no longer be our own plantation masters. We must be free from within to live free together. Let us leave unto Caesar's what is Caesar's and not attempt to fix what is not broken, but time to build anew, time to build which values all life. We are the fulfillment of prophecies that were spoken by Frederick and Malcolm and Martin and Angela and Malcolm and Bobby, JFK, Nelson. Let us get right with our history so we're not stuck in the hypocrisy of our history. For the time has come for us to walk with grace and dignity as we overcome and deliver on the promise of getting to the mountaintop. It is said that the truth shall set you free, but only if one is open to the truth that binds us. We all walk the same earth, breathe the same air, drink the same water. We all come from woman, and death will visit us all. Let us not be colorblind, but be human sighted. And I will end with this piece, what I call When I Look Within. When I look within me, I do not see black. The essence that is me freely travels the kaleidoscope of faint light that passes my mind's eye. As I go beyond the invisible white fog of cloudy chaos that limits sight. The ethos of my soul transcends the illusion of time and space, all pain, all suffering, all knowing. I'm the infinite vastness clinging to the illusion of the flesh, transported back to the feeling of my beginning. I wrestle with the moment to go beyond my understanding of this body, this name that I answer to. In a hypnotic gaze, I stare at the man in the mirror who's attempting to understand and not question the cascades of feelings that vexes. My mind is a field of landmines scattered with memories, which are more glorified and treacherous than the actual events that created them. In the soul of my soul, I am not a man, a son, a father, a lover. I am not short, tall, stocky, or slender. I am not Black, Muslim, Christian, Jew, or Gentile. I'm the particle circulating within the vastness of space that empties from nothing to form the temple of my meat suit. I am the many points of light guided by the forward motion and notion that is life. Riding upon shooting stars from experience to experience, challenging choices not yet realized. I am held captive by patience, for she is not my virtue, as she disguises what I cannot see nor feel. From dawn to dusk, it all serves. For how can we know light without dark? The destructive creative flow that is Yah, the universe, looks through the eyes of the racist, the kind, the bigot, the meek, the banker, the housewife, the murdered, the starving, the wealthy, the servant. When you look within you, what do you see? What do you feel? Thank you.
Woo, thank you, sir. Thank you for sticking around. That was wonderful stuff. Powerful, wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. All right. We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm going to please welcome our next first-time blotter. And this is somebody who I've actually done more live shows in front of people with than Kelly, and that's saying something. So would you please welcome Blair Center.
Hi, Finn. Wait, can you hear me? Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, fab. Hello, everyone. I'm Blair. I'm from the same neck of the woods as Finn. Sometimes write in Scots, but I've saved you that fate for tonight, maybe in the future. Just 3 short poems. The first one's called Kingfisher. Rising, soaring, diving, with wide wings spread, while the sharp beak, points like a missile ahead, guiding flight. The kingfisher moves gracefully like a breeze, in feathers shaded like a dawn sky alight. Like oxidizing copper turning from bronze and blue to gold and lapis lazuli in the scorching sun. This alchemist cruising on the wind sees the distorted, rippling water straight through, conjuring fish from where others see none. The second one is called Egg. The freckled egg rotates in the boiling bubbles like a speckled stone tossed by waves. To a chime, it rises, decapitated, a wobbling volcano, tectonic plated. The soldiers gather at the base in awe. One by one, they leap, into the rich magma yolk. In orange construction hats, they are lifted out, the builders of this balanced breakfast. So that was about, egg and soldiers. A firm favorite of mine for a long time. Thank you. And
Thanks, mate.
the third one, spider. Okay. Muse of 8 legs, spin me a yarn. Weave me a tale that will stick on the walls of my mind, span the corners, the brain beams, the eaves of my thoughts. Show off, like your ancestor Arachne. Play with fine threads to weave a godly tapestry, capturing my 2 eyes like your enwrapped flies. Walk the sticky high wire. I'm in the ringside seat. Show me swift deeds of hubris, feats of wit and daring. Show me great battles of nature in my own room. Show me that execution. Show me that determination that beguiled exiled Bruce in that gloomy Rathlin cave. Weave a sail to blow inspiration through this storm of despair. Guide creativity to anchor in my mind. But don't lean too close to the water, Narcissus, or be cursed with the fate of your washed-out folk hero remembered in rhyme, a certain Itsy Bitsy. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hope to see you in Wednesday now.
Oh, I don't think I will be in on Wednesday. I'm
Ah,
with my parents just now. I'll be back in before long at the
all right, okay.
things happen.
Cheers.
Soon enough. You'll see me soon.
Cheers anyway. Thank you. Thank you very much, Blair. Right. Get down there. And Ian.
Hello, Finn. How's it going? Kelly, wow, what a set. Wading through daydreams. Yeah, awesome. So truly enchanted. It's great. And yeah, brilliant. It's blew me away. Lantern Leslie, looking forward to next week. It's going to be fun. Okay, so this one I've done a while ago. Some of you may have heard it. It's called You With Your Dog. Basically, I was managing a mental health service for a while, for a good few years, and basically I hit a wall. Couldn't talk to anyone about it, didn't want to. I was kind of more worried about the stigma. And basically, I hit burnout. So I had a bit of an invisible battle going on, and I didn't want to get that. You're all right, brother. Come on, what's the matter with you? Come on, get a grip, And I was a bit worried. That's the kind of reaction I get. Anyhow, so here I go. Well, hello again. You're here, over to say hello to me. You're here with your mental warhead. It's unacceptable, yet giving up is non-negotiable. You want to infect me with your explosion of activity to slash me with a pinch of fear and negativity? So come on, you're back. Show us what you got. If you strike me with that cold absence of feeling, I'll lock you down and play my social game of concealing. I'll keep you behind the veil of stigma with a smile while you're talking to me inside, trying to go to my pride. You brought your black dog. His bad breath unleashed his fog, shrouding me relevant again, clouding my brain. But I'll make sure it's temporary, then I'll be back to being me again. I remember the fluctuating chatter from years before. I pulled a wool over your eyes so you can't see, but I won't tell you that you can defeat me. That's too easy. That has to come from you, or I lead you down the rabbit hole of mental kung fu. So how's that going to be? Maybe see a doctor for a remedy? How about an SSRI prescription, or is that legal addiction? Or trade your taxes for psychological therapy? I'm not sure it's enough to cut you from me. It's 8 PM, a few days have passed. Yes, he's definitely here, so I'm not sure about going out tonight. Walking into my local in South London, I'll wear my smile like a red striped pair of Adidas. A few who know me well, they can tell me they aren't quite convincing or cool. Plus, they are 2 sizes too small and are uncomfortable. With each step, blood seeps through my heels' blistered laceration, kick-starting its toxic rumination. Yet I fight this narcissistic introspection. I banter with a friend, it's his round. How much did you spend? 22 quid, I say, passing this card. Really? Yeah. I bought the Barman one in the Smiths. They were laughed after they accepted them. I pointed you out and said, you paid for them. We hit each other up with this occasional well-rehearsed joke and laugh. As Oscar Wilde said, we are all actors on life stage. But right now, he's telling me I can't remember the lines. That's turbulence is where my mind's at. Yet once again, his turbulence wants to paint the town black and red. It's open mic night, band night tonight, Thursday. Adjoining Cash Covers playing. I nod at a familiar face as I walk to the loo. Come on. Enjoy, I tell myself as I step through the garden, while the cheery hum leaks in and invades my ears. It's all patio heaters, people, places, happy faces and connection. But him and his dog are fighting to keep it all away. In the loo, I look up and gaze in the mirror. I stare at my face as my mind buzzes like an untuned radio. Yeah, I look sane, but do I feel that in my brain? Yet I'm all too aware of the scattered concentration and disassociation. Yet right now, my mind's private freak show, I see the devil's face in my reflection. I busted that mirror, yet my mind won't crack and my personality won't retract. You may rock my foundation with mental insurrection, but 7 years bad luck, I have no room for superstition. So bracing myself, I turn from the mirror's immaculate stare, walk out and mingle. Where's my self-confidence as I remind myself I'm not walking into a press conference? But right now, I don't feel quite like me, but that's okay. As when all is said and done, you don't want me to live, love, laugh, or have fun. But I'm not staying in, so you and dog can go do one. I'm glad I went out that night. Yet before that night, I did have an epiphany that pushed me to face life's adversity, a verbal fistfight with someone close to me. I accused him of throwing out all this negativity. He said, no, the problem, that's all you see. With a chip on my shoulder, my heart grew colder and my demons stronger. Refusing to see the wood from the tree, I'll grip my ego and let it play tricks on me. It took some to stand tall and respect his clarity with grace and dignity, to avoid swinging the shoulders with blame and attitude. So in plight, I'll strengthen the spirit with kindness, humour, and gratitude. That's it. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Ian. Thank you very much indeed, mate. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Lots of love to you all. You're awesome. And yeah, looking forward to our next session.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cover from this one first. All right. Penultimate. Welcome back, Kate.
What an awesome night. Gosh, I'm reeling from some amazing poetry tonight. So thank you. And Kelly, I just love your rhymes, your rhythms. So thank you so much. And Finn, wonderful night. What I'm going to do is just one poem. It's a cheat, actually. It's called a patchwork poem. It's lots of little poems stitched together. And I don't think you'll see the seams, so I think we're all right here. And this poem is called, well, it's my rebellion poem. So as you know, a lot of you know, I used to have a corporate career, but I was unemployable because I was a poet. I think that was the problem, actually. I came out as a poet 5 years ago in corporate land, and it was all very entertaining.
Came out as a poet, sorry.
So this is my maverick rebellion poem saying, do you know what? I am a business poet. Call the poet. How often have we heard it, especially in the workplace, when there's been a crisis in our creativity or a vacuum in our imagination? Call the poet. We have an emergency. We need to do things differently and we don't know how to do it. Call the poet. But what does the business poet do? Oh, I'm pleased you asked. Let me enlighten you with a perfectly positioned haiku. Feelings flow freely, experience grows value, everyone prospers when the business poet extraordinaire creates human-centric workplaces everywhere. Yes, I hear the cynicism, anger and irony, the silence and the yawning chasm between people's dreams and their working realities. I honour the diversity of personalities that you need through the power of spoken word, transforming boredom into smiles, laughter, tears of relief. Imagine the joy that will be released to energise your vision. But only if you listen. Leaders, heed the poet's warning. If through finding your voice, people lose theirs, you have not found your voice. If through making your choice, people lose theirs, you have not made the right choice. If by claiming your power, they become powerless, are you really strong? I mean, if only you are the perfect fit, do you really belong? I know the business world is not designed to be humankind, but being tough of mind is not enough to nurture trust. This has to start from a tender heart. So when did tenderness enter the workplace? Never. It couldn't get a toehold, was always shown the back door. I mean, what even is tenderness in business for? Well, I believe it's there to find another way, a different route, and to show you what is possible. I have worked in the most hostile environments, the most toxic air, which I have had to inspire and purify in my being, and that takes some doing. Tenderness is the hardest state to maintain because we have to eliminate and heal the bad, sad, and hurt emotions that went before. I have had to cup them gently in my hands, hear their pain, and tenderly remove the cancerous cells of multiplying revenge and rancor. Only another human can energize, revitalize, and humanize another. In the future, I predict that workplaces will require a poet's gentle insight for creativity to come home and connect the human spirits, which once lit in business will never expire. And every poet will be employed successfully, finally valued for their art. My future self smiles appreciatively because we no longer give away our creativity for free. We lead the leadership with our empathy, and people finally know what words are worth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kate. Thank you. And what's she, Kate, again, you roll up to O Beehive on Friday, where she is the headline spot on that now. It'll be a great night. That's going to be. I don't know if I'm working yet because it's still really quiet in town, so I might just appear. So thank you, Kate. Thank you.
Hope you do, Finn.
Thank you. I might appear from at work. I'll do that as well, right? But,
yeah, do that. Just appear.
Yeah. Just appear. Right, before we, speaking of old Beehive, before we come to Clive to finish the night, I was going to read last, but I'd rather leave on a Clive note than a Finn note. So this is a new piece that I'm working on. I don't know if it's finished yet or not. And it's called Dance While Your Lights Are Lit, Darkness Comes Too Soon. You need a dialogue with fear to help you keep your ship on an even keel, help you steer around the rocks, whilst not being afraid of the rocks. Be aware of the rocks. The rocks don't know that you are there. You, however, know they exist. And not everything is black as white, and not everything also, it's not all psychedelic colors. Not everyone is out to get you. Neither does the world owe you a sandwich. You have to make your own sandwich. But if someone offers you salad for your sandwich, then they might just be offering you salad for your sandwich and not wanting anything in return except a simple thank you. With age, they say, comes experience, but experience doesn't come with sitting at home, sitting still, both physically and mentally, sitting alone, prone to nothing. And nothing is more than a state of mind. Nothing is a state of being, and being afraid of nothing is nothing short of odd, and just as complex as being afraid of everything. And sadness doesn't always howl. Sometimes it's the whispering voice at the end of the day in your head, asking, is there room in your head for one more? Thank you. It's not finished, but that's what I have. Thank you. So we'll get head over now to Mr. Osman.
Hello. Yeah, right. Yes. Talking of Ubi Beehive, obviously Friday night, Kate is the headliner. It's going to be a massive one. The open mic has just gone absolutely mental this week. So it's going to be a fantastic night. The quality and the quantity is just amazing. So yeah, if you're not on our mailing list, I have put our email address in the chat. So please feel free to contact us for the link. Right, what I'm going to do tonight, I hope I don't come across as too flat tonight because I'm not feeling particularly well and I've not had a good day, but I was determined to take my slot, so here I am. So this is, I'm sure, I mean, we're nearly all on Facebook, and I'm sure you've all seen these ridiculous questions that keep appearing, you know, where were you born and what was the name of your first pet, which is really just fishing for your passwords and the answers to your security questions. But literally hundreds of thousands of people fall for it every single time. And I like to put like really silly answers, and that gave me the idea to make a poem out of it. So, well, if you want to call it a poem, that is. And it's called An Interview with Facebook. And these are the sort of answers I do put to these questions if I'm bored. So, an interview with Facebook. So, Clive, where were you born? I was born in a small town just outside Wedlock. I'm not sure where that is. I can't find it on a map. And every time I asked my mother, she said I was a bastard. She never had much patience with me. She has a lot to answer for. What was the name of your first pet? I was never allowed pets, so I got very attached to my pillow. I used to take it for walks. Not on a lead, obviously. I mean, I didn't want people to know. I used to stuff it up my jumper. It didn't really have a name. Then one day, it suffocated my uncle. I think it did the world a favour, but it had to be put down or taken away for forensic examination, as the police euphemistically called it. That made me sad. What was the colour of your first car? It was rust-coloured with a brown interior. The interior wasn't always brown, but my passengers had a collective loss of control as I hurtled through a built-up area at 130 miles an hour on a foggy night. I always kept the windows open after that. Never really got rid of the smell. As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up? A lamppost. I always had a strange fascination with lampposts. I didn't see the light until I was 18. The council wouldn't give me a job because I wasn't standard design, so I went freelance. I was okay in the summer, but winter was a challenge, and having dogs peeing all over me wasn't nice. It made me wonder why people didn't just stick to pillows. They have much better hygiene and are useful for getting rid of arrogant relatives. Now, as a full-grown adult, single adult, what would be your ideal date? July the 9th. The height of summer, long, hot days, all the prats who call me a wuss because I can't stand the cold, moaning that it's too hot. I hope they suffer, the bastards. What was your mother's maiden name? She had a double-barreled name, which in those days meant you were upper class, not from a broken home, or so she said. It was security question. Miss Ansia security question. Everyone knew her as Anne. if the last food you ate was all you could eat for a month, what would you be living on? Hopes and prayers. There's not that much of next door's budgie to go around, to be honest. Which great English writer were you? Shakespeare. I don't write my own plays either. If your age was flipped, how old would you be? Really, it would be much simpler if you asked me what year I was born. You'd be sure to correctly answer the security question then, whether my birthday had passed or not. But I would be 99. Unless I was standing on my head, then I'd be 66. Who knew standing on one's head could make one younger? And if you ask any more stupid questions, I'll stand on your head, see how young I can make you. Thank you very much.
You see, I'm right glad I didn't finish in my down point. That was brilliant. What a way to finish, guy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, thanks everyone who stuck around from the very beginning, and thank you all. Thank you, Kelly, for a superb set, my pal. Thank you very much indeed. I hope Buzz back to sleep now for the rest of the night. So thank you all. I will see you next the 6th of March when our friend Gary will be jazzing us up as the headline poet. That's got to be some night. There he goes, DJ Jazzy Gary. Yeah, that's great. I've got a live headline spot in Aberdeen on Wednesday night, weather permitting. And on the 19th of this month, come along, please. It's, I think, about 10 o'clock our time, when both Kelly and I are on the Literature Cafe with Brian Burchett. I am a semi-guest host, guest poet, whatever he does, I don't know, but I'll be there anyway. Thank you. And thank you all for coming along. Thanks, Beck. Cheers. Thank you, folks.
Cheers, Finn.
Cheers, thanks, Finn.
Cheers, Finn. Kelly. Super duper. It's all good. It's all good. See you guys soon. Wicked.
Thank you, Kelly.
Bye. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Kelly.
And Clive's headline is spoken word online on Tuesday. Go to that as well. Thank you.
Or else. Tomorrow, Clive.
So again,
sorry, Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah. Tuesday.
I've been working today. It's just me. Sorry. All right. See you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right, flower of Scotland.
See you, everyone.